Now broadcasting from the Next Gen Conservative Studio in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report with Sam Whitfield.
Alrighty, folks, good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of the Whitfield Report. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting live from NGC Studios here in South Florida, and I want to thank you so very much for joining me tonight wherever you are in the past, present, future hour. And I would also like to welcome the Versa Media audience who are also hopefully joining us as well, especially since their channel isn't active tonight, so everyone's partying here over at the Whitfield Report channel tonight. As always, if you'd like to contact me at @70_NDC on Twitter and Instagram, at Sam Whitfield on Gab, Parler, and Minds, and Getter, or however you pronounce that. TheSamWhitfield.com is on my website address. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, all of that jazz. Streamlabs.com/The Whitfield Report if you'd like to donate. And Patreon.com/The Whitfield Report for your monthly contributions. Thanks to Skunky Brewster and Saucin and Fat Cake Boy for being the top contributors over there, as always. Hail to the chat. Hail to Mr. Whiskey. To Saucin, obviously. To Skunky Brewster. To Brew Mama. And I know that Fella in a Meadow or Sandwich is lurking, so hello to you too, Sandwich. And as I mentioned, we've got the Versa Media crew with us here, so I'm not sure where Sean is, but we have Alex here with us, so good evening to you, Alex. Likewise. And so I know that Sean is going to be joining us in a few minutes, and I also know that Phil may or may not be joining us. You know, he's kind of a wild he's a wild man. I feel like tonight's topic would have been perfect for this. At any rate, I got not really into the middle of a controversy this week, but suffice it to say, my Twitter account is no longer DOA, because on Sunday night I saw that I saw that Charlie Kirk was in the middle of a Twitter fight with Brandi Love, the conservative porn star, and yeah, right. It's stupid that we even have to preface it with the the she Yeah.
But Sam, you were showing. I remember, like, I was getting in on it, but Brandi was getting sort of like a Twitter beef with Charlie.
So yeah, so apparently there are a few misconceptions because how I found out about it initially on Twitter was someone sent me something. Yeah, I fixed the audio in Discord, guys, so you guys should be able to hear the guest now. My apologies. Discord always does this, but anyway, yeah, so you guys should be able to hear my guest now. But anyway, so how this whole thing started was someone sent me a tweet, and apparently it was someone saying that like Brandy Love had been disinvited from speaking at Turning Point USA, which was weird because I looked and I'm like, well, she wasn't on the speaking list.
Yeah.
So then I went to her Twitter and she said, no, I I wasn't invited to speak and I never intended to speak. I just wanted to go there a as like a guest and walk around. But apparently she got like an email uh saying that her pass specifically had been revoked. And so she couldn't get in. And I guess they were going to refund her the money. But then this is kind of what started the whole thing of like, well, why did she get specifically like, I don't know, disinvited from going there? Because she says that like her only intention was basically just to walk around and you know
probably get some OnlyFans signups.
Just participate. Whiskey says in chat, says she was a disruption. Well, I mean,
dude, fuck Turning Point anyways. Fuck all that garbage. Their disruption.
I mean, yeah, she might have, but then here's the other kicker is the people who I guess the people who were in charge of the decision of letting her go were saying that she isn't conservative, and that's fine. We can argue those issues, but what cracks me up is the fact that the people who say that they disinvited her, they were saying that they've never watched, that they didn't know if she was a porn star, and yet they disinvited her because she was a porn star, and they don't watch porn. Now, I'm no genius, but how the hell would you know? How the hell would you know that someone's a porn star if you'd never, seen their material or even like heard of them being porn stars?
Wait a sec. Whiskey Runner, she does incest porn. She is an interest in conservatism. Well, I think Alabama would like to have a word with you.
Well, see, here's the two takeaways I have from this immediately. Number one, like you said, Sam, is have I seen pornography? Of course. I'm 23 years old. Of course I've encountered it. But I don't watch it like a TV show. I don't binge it.
Right.
Well, with some of these TV shows, they cross the fucking line. Like, look at Game of Thrones. That's practically like softcore porno of like yesteryear.
That's another debate for another day. But
along
I don't know
headings and whatnot.
Yeah, there's violent porn. But there is no way that most people at SAS knew who Brandi Love was. And I'm not excusing Turning Point, I'm talking about the attendees. I had no clue who she was. Most of the people, if it was Stormy Daniels, that's a different case, because she's infamous now. But nobody knows who she is. And to me, the bigger issue here is not Brandi Love. It's an issue that's at all these conferences. I don't know if you call it an issue, but it just happens. Every one of these conferences, if it's Turning Point, CPAC, or even like gaming conferences or like anime conferences, I don't care what it is. There's always, which we've crashed. We know what they're like.
They use some fucking like women in there.
Women, they're normal. These conferences are riddled with hookups, alcohol, and drugs. And number one, what parents sending their high schooler to this shit? And number two, okay, yeah, you can say the porn star shouldn't be around younger students. Okay, whatever. But the age requirement, and I thought it was this, but it should be 18. This is an adult event with adult activities, with adult language being used, with adults. It's super adulty. I couldn't get more adult than it is. And Turning Point knows what goes on. They know that there are hookups. They know that there's alcohol. They know that there's drug use. Their influencers, I'm told, even participate in it. And they are freaking out with this porn star. I mean, come on. I don't even know what she was really doing, but the outrage is not justified given what else happens at these conferences.
The other question.
Not to mention, too, if I can just jump in, I do want to point something out, because Johnny keeps saying, you know, why do I care that she's a porn star? The thing of it is, I don't. That's not really the issue here. The bigger thing for me, at least, is this just seems really hypocritical of Turning Point, because they've had like Lady Maga or whoever that that tranny, that tranny person. They've had her come and speak, and they've also, as we've made fun of several times on your guys' show, they had that Turning Point had that MAGA like money cannon thing.
Oh yeah, the strippers.
Yeah, with the Bang Energy girls literally throwing money into the crowd. So my whole thing here is like, why is all of that okay? But as far as we know, all Brandi Love wanted to do is just walk around, and unless you know who she is, she basically looks like a soccer mom from Dallas, Texas. Basically. That's
well. And the other thing, too, is, because you're right, it's 100% hypocritical for the reasons I mentioned in yours, but, I mean, moreover, the reason that they did something this time was because the Groypers, for some reason, controlled Turning Point. They bully them into doing what they want, and Turning Point bends the knee and does it. For better or worse, they do.
Well, here's my thing. I don't care who goes to these events. I don't care if there's a stripper, if there's a porn star, as long as they aren't, actively sabotaging the event. I care more that, who is it, Slate is going to this SAS than I care about any sort of porn star. Mm-hmm. If you're disruptive, kick them out. If they're not disruptive and they're paying you money, they're just an attendee, okay. You don't have to give them a fucking studio. You have to give them, their own, little talk. You can just give them some time. You can just let them come in like anyone else. I don't see how you can't have it both ways. And it's like the church, if you're a porn star, you can still go to church. I mean, you're not going to be a priest or anything, but you're still able to go to these events. I'm not for canceling these people unless you're actively doing, negative shit. If she's going up to little high schoolers and giving them her business card to her meat porn website.
Yeah.
It's different.
Well, and like I said, high schoolers shouldn't even be at this conference. I was checking the tickets, and apparently even minors like not even teenagers can get tickets.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't like that. I
mean,
really
that to me
don't.
makes no sense. I always thought this was an 18 plus event, but it looks like you could be a mom and bring your whole family. Like really, it sounds like it's supposed to be a family event. It isn't. We know it isn't. And if you're going to make it a family event, then okay, kick out the porn stars, but kick out these other things. Set all these other rules, but no drinking, no drugs, and all these other things, and actually prevent it. And let's not even forget, too, what also happens at these conventions is not just hookups, but there have been lots of allegations of sexual assault and rape that have gone unresolved, apparently. Allegedly. That's what I've heard.
Charlie's in charge over there, so, not really
Yeah, he
surprised.
is very much in charge. That's what people don't realize is that they sometimes think these guys at the top, they don't really do X, Y, and Z. They just are just at the top and they sit back and relax and collect a big paycheck. But Charlie's case, he is involved with pretty much everything and is always the final say on everything. Everything, he is the final say. I know this from people that worked in the HQ would tell me that. And it's really remarkable that a small group of super conservative, socially conservative people who, by the way, aren't so conservative when the cameras are off, they literally can bully this guy into doing anything. And it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And what's also, I mean, I guess the other thing too was, the other thing that like I don't get is anytime you criticize Charlie Kirk, I mean, I know that my show kind of has a reputation for kind of dealing with internet cults, as it were, as of the last couple of years. But I mean, Charlie Kirk, if you don't think he has a cult of personality, you're wrong, because he absolutely does. I simply brought the point that he was, a hypocrite, and I got all these boomers in my Twitter DMs being like, well, Charlie Kirk started a great organization, and Charlie Kirk basically made it so that Trump got elected in 2016, and
No, he didn't.
and blah 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 blah. What have you ever done? And it's like, well, that wasn't Charlie Kirk that did that. Second off, you realize that there are other like college Republican groups out there, right? Like, Turning Point is not the end all be all. I don't get this weird. I don't get who designated Charlie Kirk as like the patron saint of all young conservatives, because he certainly doesn't speak for me.
Yeah, he's a pretty shitty patron saint at that too. Like I remember when I first saw Turning Point, it was at CPAC in I think 2016. And they were like a cult. Like they just kept like going after. They're like zombies. They kept you like, hey, do you hear about Turning Point? You want to join Turning Point, guys? You get free CPAC tickets. You have to sell your soul to Charlie Kirk to get into CPAC. That's what it feels like over there.
Whiskey says that they had a Holocauster there. Really, I don't remember that. I thought I would have heard of that, but who knows?
Charlie Kirk's wild ride.
So, I didn't get a chance to see Trump's full speech, but I did see parts of it. The stream I saw of Trump's speech kept crashing, Johnny. So yeah, I didn't get a chance to see the whole thing, but I I did see some pretty interesting tweets surrounding Trump's speech in Arizona. Man, people are still pissed that he's even around, which I find hilarious. Um, I saw. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can find it here on Twitter. Because Apex retweeted this earlier.
Oh, how's Apex been, by the way? I haven't heard from him in a little bit.
He's been good. He's been busy. He's been closing the last few nights at his job, so that has kind of, I guess, you know,
Put a little damper on things.
Yeah, that's. But he might. I think he'll be here later. Probably.
Ooh, yay, late night stream.
But let's see. Okay, so let's see here. So this was one of the spicy tweets from a left-wing account. Regarding Trump's rally in Arizona.
Here's my question. If this vaccine is so goddamn effective, why are people, like all these leftists, still bitching at other people for not taking the vaccine? You take one yourself, you can wear your mask, go for it.
Well, here's my question is why are they so hell-bent on people getting it too? Like it's gotten to the point where we now have McDonald's cups and whatnot, and freaking McDonald's of all places is telling people to get vaccinated on their on their packaging. But keep eating those fries and those burgers that are going to give you high cholesterol and high blood pressure and all that. That's fine. But if you don't get your vaccine, that's no good. Also, these people here, at least on this Twitter account, they're basically advocating terrorism now.
Do you even know that these people didn't take the vaccine, or are they just assuming that because they're Trump supporters?
Well, that's the whole thing. They're probably just assuming that that they haven't taken the vaccine. But still, I mean, we need a COVID vaccine smoke machine for the larger groups of selfish Americans. I don't know about you, Alex, but that sounds like, that sounds kind of like a terrorist,
Yeah, they want to go and put the chemicals in the air. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that's like the next thing is where they try, like the left, they just literally start to go and use, what's that shit Alex Jones used to talk about? That's for the chemtrails. I can see them actually trying to pull off some shit like in Alabama or something.
Yeah.
Like just do large swaths of like vaccine droplets.
Yeah, well, one of the things that they actually happen, and I actually think that this is kind of smart, but like I don't really know how they would track this, but like I remember that Trump signed this into law that if you like coughed on someone and you like knowingly had COVID and you like knowingly coughed on someone, that could be like considered assault. Um, if you coughed on someone knowing that you
I think
that you
I think
had.
that's always been a law though. Like with other diseases, like if you have sex with someone and you have AIDS, and you don't tell them, and you're not in California because over there that's a slap on the wrist. But
Yeah,
most
well,
places, you get in trouble for that.
yeah, well, California is just, California is California, and California is fucking weird. But
You
yeah,
know, I could also see them putting this shit in the water supply, putting the COVID vaccine in the water supply too, to
I,
really get people the vaccine.
I actually was watching Alex Jones the other day, and he was saying that wasn't too far off from what he was saying. Um, and so, and I think what's interesting is the fact that, like, now we've got Fauci. I mean, yeah, he hasn't admitted. It's basically come out that he was doing, you know, uh,
Gain of function
yeah,
research.
gain of function research, yeah, and testing
I'm not
regarding that.
surprised.
So yeah, no, I'm not surprised. But if you brought that up last year, oh, that was a conspiracy theory, and you would get your Twitter account and everything blocked, and in fact, Jen, I think maybe we talked about this last week, but now, like, I guess Biden is kind of pissing off Facebook now because uh Biden wants Facebook to just like shadow ban people or just ban them outright before they even post like quote unquote misinformation.
They do that shit already though. Like that's the thing. Facebook already is really bad with the banning. Like I got banned for it was from like 6 months from like May till the end of the 2020 elections, like 2 days after the election was done from Facebook for making a reaction to a Breitbart news story that said that George Floyd was like Jesus Christ. I did an angry face reaction because I think that's absolutely ridiculous to compare a porn star to Jesus Christ. And as a practicing Catholic, I think that's incredibly offensive. But Facebook, it's a Satanist website, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's weird that you angry reacted them, which is like one of their own features, right? And yet they still banned you just for that. That to me,
Oh yeah, that's bullshit.
that to me is like because like you didn't type anything, right, or anything like that. You just
No, I
yeah,
literally did an angry face reaction. As soon as I did that, it said we have trouble getting a hold of your account. And then it wasn't even like I was really banned either. Like they just put me in this loop where my account was unable to be accessed after I sent them my ID. They told me to send them my ID, and I did. And they took until after the election to get back to me. It was like a way they could circumvent banning me. That's some bullshit right there.
yeah. It was real weird because they one time they tried to shut down my not my personal Facebook account, but I have two accounts, and one of them is one I used to like manage all my stuff for the podcast and whatnot, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
they banned that one, and they wanted me to show an ID, so I showed them my state ID and or no, I not my state ID. I showed them my student ID, and they were like, "Well, that's not a valid ID." And I'm like, well, I'm like, sure it is. It's the one given to me by my university. No, well, we need an official ID. And it's like, no, I'm not giving you my state ID with my address and all that stuff.
Oh, they already know where you live. They knew that for years.
I'm sure they do, but still, I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of, of having a photo of my state ID, because also, like what happens if their shit gets hacked by the Chinese? I don't want, you know,
They already they know where you live.
I mean, I'm sure
Let's be real.
I'm sure the Chinese know where we all are too, but it's just the principle of it all that I don't like. So
I can respect that too. Like I think it's bullshit how much information like Facebook and all these other social media accounts ask for, especially Facebook. They make you use your real name. Like I think it's stupid. And like that burp person, they're right. Like you need more ID for Facebook than you do to actually vote. Like what the fuck's up with that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean the name thing for me personally, that doesn't bother me as much personally, because I've kind of always gone under my real name online. But I certainly understand, for the most part, I have. But I mean, I certainly understand why people would be upset. Oh, who's
can
joining
hear
us now?
What's up, Phil?
guys? Can you hear me? Okay, semi
Yes.
sort of. Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Shit! Puffy Dictator Phil is in the house. What's up, Phil?
Not bad. Not much. Not much. How y'all doing?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
So, did y'all? Okay, real quick. Did y'all talk about the NFL yet?
No.
No.
Okay.
I haven't even heard of the. I mean,
Okay.
What's the news with the NFL?
So it's a couple days. It's kind of a couple days old, but yeah, I'll try to make it easy on y'all. So the NFL a couple days ago put out a memo. They put out a memo basically saying, well, actually, it's Tom Pelissero tweeted it out of the NFL Network. He tweeted. He tweeted basically from the memo that was given to the teams by the league, basically saying that if a game cannot be rescheduled during the 18-week season due to a COVID outbreak among unvaccinated players, the team with the outbreak will forfeit and be credited with a loss for player seating. Right? So they're basically like almost forcing, they're basically forcing in their own way to get people vaccinated. And there's a couple players that have like voiced their frustration. You have DeAndre Hopkins, who's a receiver for the for Cardinals, and he's like one of the best receivers in the league.
Yeah, I now that you mention, I that was what I saw about this.
Yeah, so he ended up tweeting, "Never thought I'd say this, but being put in a position to hurt my team because I don't want to partake in the vaccine is making me question my future in the NFL." So he's considering maybe walking out of the NFL because of this mess. And he was saying that, one of his family members, he has a, or like somebody in the military took the vaccine and then they had heart issues. And so it's like, he's like legitimately going, maybe I shouldn't be taking this. And then Jalen Ramsey was saying some stuff too. Jalen Ramsey, one of the top corners in the NFL. He's also voiced his frustration about the whole thing. And so that's, I mean, this is legitimate. This is a legitimate gripe. And when I heard this, I was like, okay, I can't wait to get on and talk about this, because there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to unpack with that. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I've got one of Tom Pelisser's tweets up on screen for the
okay.
for the
Yeah.
for the viewers right now, and yeah, he says now this was from this was from last night, I believe.
Yeah.
And by the way, this segment should be entertaining for Miss Sandwich, since she's into sports
Yeah.
somewhat. But 3 more NFL players were on the reserve. COVID-19 was today as a result of positive tests per The Wire, bringing the number to 5 positives over the last 2 days. Most teams report next week. Okay. Yeah, DB Jordan Whitehead and Cardinals DB Lorenzo Burns one was high risk, close contact. Only unvaccinated players can get the designation under current protocols. Yeah, so it seems like they're really pushing this.
They're definitely pushing it. And this is part because they've lost revenue. They've now expanded the season to 18 games. I think, was it 17 or 18 games, something like that. So it looks like they're starting to feel the financial crunch. Pretty big time.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I've got the tweet that you originally mentioned, and for the audio listeners out there, so Tom Pelissero tweeted on Thursday, the NFL just informed clubs that if a game cannot be rescheduled during the 18-week season in 2021 due to a COVID outbreak among unvaccinated player, the team with the outbreak will forfeit and be credited with a loss for the playoffs seeding per sources. Massive implications.
Here's my thoughts. Like, if they get COVID, so what? Like, if all the other players had the vaccine, it shouldn't be impacted. There should be like less than 4% chance that they'd be affected. Like, why the fuck does this NFL commissioner care?
Exactly.
It's money. It's money. It's one of those things where they're just like kind of they're feeling the financial crunch, and they're trying to, they're reaching. They're basically reaching because they're getting pretty desperate. But this does bring up a very interesting piece. Because one of the things that we've heard over the last week or so is that African Americans are turning down the vaccine. Like for the most part, there's a lot of African Americans that have turned down this vaccine.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I'll talk about that. So when I think it was either Biden or Fauci, I think it was one of those two that was saying that their goal was to get around 70% vaccinated or something like that. And I laughed my ass off, because they're like, it's impossible. There's going, take politics out of the equation. There's going to be a group of people that aren't going to get this vaccine, that are naturally just like they feel like they've been lied to by the government so many fucking times that they don't believe. Like I don't believe you. No, they're like, oh, this vaccine's safe. This one, whatever, and they're like, no, I don't believe you. Like there's a fairly not large chunk, large enough to where you're not getting those kind of 70% numbers like you hoped.
Here's my other issue too. This vaccine isn't even FDA approved yet. It's still on the emergency approval.
Yeah.
It has not gotten the full,
Yeah,
like the full approval that all the other drugs have, from fucking Advil to all these other things. So like they should really shut the fuck up about telling people to take this drug until it meets full FDA approval.
Right.
Because you're basically telling someone to take an experimental chemical into their body. You know, like they've had other drugs before they thought was fine. Like there was one they told like women to, I think it's back in the 50s. It was like thalidomide or something, like the UK. They told them to go and take it, and then they had a bunch of kids walking around with, looking like chicken nuggets because they don't have any hands or feet.
Look at with the African Americans with the Tuskegee experiments. Like, look, they like you, and now you're going to tell African Americans, hey, yeah, you could totally take this thing. It's totally fine. Don't worry about it. Go take it. Like, of course they're going to be of course they're going to question it. You would have to be it would be crazy for you to just go along with it. That's like insanity.
Going back to the thing with Facebook censorship, though, this does kind of tie in, though, because I know black people who aren't really they're not really political at all, right? But they posted about, or rather, one of my friends' black friends in Denver, I guess, commented on like this Facebook ad that they had of a black nurse, and this guy was saying stop using black people to push vaccine propaganda, and the guy who posted that got banned from Facebook, or he got it.
Yeah.
He basically, he got the same treatment that Alex did, basically.
And that's another thing. You bring up a great point, Sam. Like you can't, like, they're flagging this stuff as misinformation, and it's like, oh, we're not hit, and you got Jen Psaki that's like, oh, we're not getting our numbers because of misinformation or whatever, and I'm like, and we're like, no, that these people don't trust the people don't trust the government, and rightfully so. Like, how many times have they been lied to? Like, and you and it's like anybody who gets lied to over and over again, they're gonna be like, no, you could all of a sudden tell them the divine meaning of life, and they'll be like, yo, you're full of shit. I don't believe you. Like, you can't, and that would be perfectly okay.
Well, also the social media sites have been banning like some really stupid stuff that isn't even like information. Like
by the way, if this podcast gets taken down, my bad. I'm sorry.
Nah, I mean, listen, if this podcast gets taken down, we'll just move over to Odyssey, full time then officially. I'm recording this thing to my computer anyway, so it will get out there. But no, one of my videos last year, I made like a really like dumb, corny dad joke type of video where like I had a bottle of Corona, and then I had a bottle of Guinness, right? And I said something like along the lines of, I know that the coronavirus is out there, but I prefer the Guinness virus or something like that. And I took a sip of Guinness. It was just like really, I was bored on a Saturday, and it was just like a 60-second like TikTok thing. YouTube took down that video for misinformation on COVID.
That's insane.
That's insane. On COVID-19, yeah, they took down my stupid parody video for misinformation. So So now, like, parody is misinformation too, I guess.
I'm telling you, man, they need to go and make a like a fucking open access like fucking YouTube thing. Like, we have public access TV. Do that with like fucking internet. Just make it anything legal goes. Boom. There we go.
Yeah, just take like 2010 was peak internet. Just leave it. Like, can't we just go back to that time, I guess?
Yeah, I'd love if Facebook and YouTube and all that shit just went back onto that. Just let them go back to that sort of level of bullshit. I think we'd be good.
I think there's it's something interesting. Like, obviously the Trump lawsuit is happening with these social media companies, but there's an interesting, there's another lawsuit by somebody that's now like suing these social media companies, and what they're doing is they're including the Jen Psaki quotes earlier this week, like saying, "Oh, well, we're advising these social media companies, blah 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 blah." Like, look, now you've just if that's true, if what Jen Psaki was saying was indeed true, then technically that's a state action, right? And so if you're a state actor, by previous Supreme Court precedent, you're supposed to fall in line with the First Amendment. So that means you can't censor. If you are in fact a state actor, you cannot censor. So
but do you think the Supreme Court will actually do anything?
Probably not. Probably not.
It's someone new.
I don't think so. I mean, look. I mean, I feel like we're really fucked in this situation just because. I feel like at least what's up?
I think we're fucked because they're cowards. Like, here's what the Supreme Court said. I'm not making shit up. They didn't want to investigate, like any sort of election because they're just like, oh well, if we investigate it, there'll be riots. So let's not look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was some report, like, and I don't know how reliable this shit is, but that there's at least two conservative, I use that term loosely, two conservative justices that are apparently getting harassed, and they don't want to make any decision that ruffles feathers. Like, they don't want it. I mean, I'm assuming that some of these people are getting death threats and all that shit, which wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if any Supreme Court justice got like death threat calls or whatever. But especially like with the conservatives, it's like, well,
Clarence Thomas was the first, Brett Kavanaugh. A lot of people forget this, but when he was being sworn in, I think it was 1985. Don't quote me on this.
No, it was 91.
Oh, it was 91. Yeah. They started dragging him with false, rape accusations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he still gets death threats to this day over it.
Mm-hmm. And do you know who was on the presiding committee that was
it was Joe Biden.
Yeah,
it was Joe Biden.
Fucking racist Joe. So.
Yeah, well, according to Joe Biden, though, he wasn't racist because you ain't black if you don't vote Democrat, according to Joe Biden. So,
Mm-hmm. Good news on our end. Versa is back in business. The power's restored. We're gonna go live now.
Okay.
Wait, what's Versa?
That's our podcast. The Dictator Phil, Alex, and Sean. That's our podcast. So it's
simulcasting Alex Jones style tonight.
Let's
Oh, yeah.
go. Or simulcast into
Lizard people.
radio station. That was trending on Twitter today. There was a what's it called? A Babylonian Bee article that was, I forgot the punchline was involved lizard people. But anyway, I'm just gonna have this quickly go live. I don't want to interrupt the stream anymore, but we can dive into our topics then. So
Yeah,
we
I
are
don't get
going
why-
live.
I don't get why Babylon B writes articles, because their headlines just shows the entire. It just reveals the entire joke.
You know,
Yeah.
you know this place is going to hell when the Babylon Bee actually starts writing true shit, even though they're a parody site.
Same with
Babylon B has been writing true shit for about like 3 or
Ever.
4 years already.
Yeah.
well,
It's been 3 or 4 years of like them saying like, "Oh, this is satire," but it's just like, I don't know, man. This is kind of sort of the truth.
Mm-hmm.
well,
Well, welcome back, everyone, to Versa. Real news here. We had a nice cold open with Babylon B. But I do agree with what you guys are saying. That I have to admit, they are probably one of the funniest satire sites out there. Way funnier than The Onion.
Yeah.
the Onion.
Well, I mean,
The Onion used to be good back in the day.
Oh, yeah, I remember when it used to be a big deal.
Well,
It's too
I mean,
political.
the problem is like the left has stripped everything that makes the comedy funny because of all the social justice shit. Like they've stripped it of everything that makes it funny, and now it's like you got a lot of these comedians that are going to the right. Like they're going to the right, and
no, it's not actually. It's not even supposed to. Actually, no.
Well, I think there's also a lot, too, that just, they're getting, I don't want to, because some are going to the right, and some are just becoming politically, I don't want to say deserted, but they're lost. They don't have a place to go. I forget what the word is for that. I'm slipping tonight.
I agree with the social justice thing. That's what's killing like left-wing comedy. I think they live in a world. They live in a world so ridiculous that like absurdity is just It's just an everyday part of their life and ideology. So.
Well, let me give you a quick anecdote, actually, of something happened to me recently, because I was just away on vacation. That's why we weren't streaming last week. But I was in Maine, and you would think New England, it's this hyper-leftist part of the country, which in many ways it kind of is. But Trump didn't lose Maine in 2016 by much. And he actually won one of the counties or districts that they split off. It's very weird how it works. And I was predicting he'd win 20, and who knows what he won or didn't win. But when you go through Maine, it's really like Pennsylvania. But I think it's more extreme. And what I mean by that is when you are in the rural areas, it's hyper Trump. And one thing I noticed I noticed this in PA, driving through Lancaster where I used to work on the campaign. But in Maine, it was remarkable because people still had their Trump signs up. People still had their Trump gear on. I saw people jogging with Trump hats on. Trump signs everywhere. And I thought to myself, there has never been a candidate that lost, at least in modern times, and people still lost, quote unquote. We all know how I feel about it, truthfully. And people still keep the signs up, the bumper stickers on, the paraphernalia up, still wearing the hats. And that just shows the power of Trump. Now, this is bigger than anything else. It's a once-in-a-lifetime sensation, and it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. But when you get into the city parts, there's actually, there's some Trump stuff like right at the edge of the city. But when you're in the core of the city, I was in Bangor, Maine. It's kind of this, I don't want to say it's a dumpy town, but it's a small-ish city that's kind of in the middle of nowhere-ish. Because Maine's kind of separated by a lot of rural or just nothingness. It's kind of like PA, but it's more foresty. And in this town, I am not kidding you, I've been to San Francisco, and I think this town was gayer than San Francisco. They had, and maybe San Francisco is, gotten gayer, but like they're making a run for their money because they had.
Look, I've been to San Francisco quite a few times now.
What were you doing there?
Well,
Yeah, what were you doing there, huh?
Well, I was born in Fresno, but anyway,
I'm sure you were.
Yeah, but it used to be one of my favorite cities in terms of restaurants, like restaurants. It used to be thank you.
The gay
Thank
people
you,
do love their
Democrats, for
food.
ruining that shit. But yeah, what were you saying, Alex?
The gay people do love their food. I give them that.
No, see,
Actually,
This
my
the
brother was
Here's
telling me when he
here's
was
the
in
thing:
high
when you
school-
go to San Francisco, it's actually not. It's actually not gay until you hit the Castro district.
Yeah.
Once you go by the Castro district, that's when you start seeing.
And there's that one street too that's like
kinds of
ultra
crazy
gay. It's notorious for being gay.
Well,
But this
Castro-
town in Maine.
It's funny you brought up the word Castro.
Oh, we'll get into that. That
we
is a
get
lot
that,
to unpack.
Yeah.
But I'll just wrap this up quickly, which is that this town in Maine, dude, they had the freaking every store, every barrier, those concrete barriers for cars, highway barriers that were in town, they were painted with the not just the regular pride flag that was nowhere to be seen, the new progressive pride flag with the chevron. With the what?
The Zimbabwe one?
Yeah, the Zimbabwe ultra progressive pride flag. They've gotten rid of the conservative pride flag, and this one was everywhere.
Hold up! You mean to tell me that there's a new gay pride flag?
Oh man, Sam.
Yeah.
Sam, come on, it's 2021. Get with it. That's the old flag is the conservative pride flag. This is the new progressive pride flag that includes
Sam,
trans and brown
now.
people.
Look.
Yeah, what are you, a boomer?
I didn't know that, being black is now a sexual disability, what they're doing.
Disability.
Yeah.
No, it's bad. No, it's so bad there that I'm like, I'm like, I see why people are homophobic because this is in your face pervasively.
Yeah.
Like every store, even on they had the flag, the new one, and every one of those, like I said, the concrete barriers, and it painted on it. It's almost freaking August, and they're still having them up. Pride Month never ends there. But it's small anecdote. I'm just trying to prove a point, which is that some parts of the country are like
I was homophobic before it was cool.
Oh, disavow.
So
I disavow you.
I mean,
Me.
according to the new definition, I've always been homophobic, which is I don't really care, but
Well, what's the new definition? Like you won't fuck a tranny? Is that
Yeah,
you're not sucking a tranny dick, and now you're a homophobe.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, you joke. That's why the super straight thing was a thing.
Suck my feminine penis.
I mean, part of the reason why I bring up tits so much on the show and why I love, busty women so much is just to, to counteract some of this shit. They want us to lean into their stuff. I say let's go the opposite way. I'm for liquor, guns, bullets, and tits.
But you're going full libertarian.
I mean,
liquor, gun, beer, and titties. Yee!
have we just has the Brandi love discussion been started yet?
We had a brief bit on that, but not on our stream.
We have been on that, but yeah,
I am curious to hear Phil's take on.
Yeah, actually, I am too, because Phil is more of a porn aficionado.
No,
you know what I mean?
So, you know what's funny? You know what's funny? Because I did talk to my friend about it too.
Oh my God.
I totally did, man. The second I was talking about it on Twitter, I'm like, dude, what do you think, man? And
you didn't have to talk like name drop, or you just had to say, "What do you think?"
And he knows,
knew.
he knows. It's almost like he studies these porn stars. Like he studies the
Oh.
porn stars. He knows what websites they're on. He knows what just everything. And he basically was like, hey, so she's
Need
at the
some
point.
Jesus.
She's at the point now where she has to do something completely different because every porn category that she's done, she's already done and has completely kind of worn itself out. Like
Wow.
she's gotten to the point where he was like, so they're right at about the end of your porn career, right? You start doing like the stepmom porn. And
Well,
then,
that's
Oh.
when you start doing like the interracial gangbang.
right.
Yeah.
And then so that's what it is. It's and you nailed it, Alex. So it's step porn, is stepmom porn. then you get blacked, and then it's like you got your own. You got your OnlyFans ish thing because like nobody else is gonna hire you anymore.
I thought
And
you
then
started out
that's
at
it.
OnlyFans. Like that's usually the way you get into porn.
So
And
yeah,
then you start to do the degrading shit.
Yeah, isn't that the gateway drug into porn now?
No.
Fucking
So
OnlyFans.
it is, but it's also an exit drug. So it's also an exit game for like the older ones.
Oh,
So, like,
I see.
yeah.
I see.
So that's like, she's worn out all of her ticket, and now it's like, now she's doing that. But it was interesting. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty interesting perspective there. And yeah, like, and then for shits and giggles, I went on Pornhub and I typed Brandi Love, and the very first thing that popped up was stepmom porn and blacked porn. I'm like, oh my god!
I thought it was gonna be like Brandi Love fucks Charlie Kirk in the ass or something.
Okay, but I'm just wondering, what is conservative about her? I don't understand.
I guess the libertarian side, because what isn't technically Turning Point like free market shit? They're not.
Turning Point identifies as conservative in their advertising and marketing, but they started out more libertarian.
I mean,
I would say that their makeup is more conservative, and what they preach, that's a whole nother can of worms.
Are you sure Point USA is even libertarian? Because they do
They're supposed to be.
lot of shilling for spending money to sending money overseas to Israel, which I don't know.
Well,
I don't know any discipline.
It's very conservative, actually, when you think about it.
Yeah,
but I think there's a big difference, and this is what I was trying to say in some tweets with Sam, was Brandi Love, I'm going to, just for the sake of argument, I'm going to assume she's registered Republican. She's a Republican porn star. She's not a conservative porn star. Because one distinction that people kind of forget to make, and it sounds like nothing, but it is a big deal, is conservative is an ideology. Republican is a political affiliation, a political party. Right. Trump was not a conservative, but he was a Republican, and he used the Republican Party to bring populism and nationalism into the mainstream. A libertarian could do the same thing, except that they're too stupid and autistic to actually do anything successful. But you get my point, is that the party is not beholden to one ideology.
Wait. Let me backtrack on that. Anytime a libertarian has tried to, run with the every time a libertarian has tried to run with the Republican Party, they have exiled them.
Well, they vote them in the primaries. Nobody likes them. They have no chance in the primaries, and they fail. They simply fail.
We're very popular, but they kind of got fucked over by their own party because the Republicans did not like them.
Trump got fucked by the party, but he won.
So when you bring up a good thing with Israel, right? Because we always talked about, and we can segue this into something relevant too. So the Israel thing, the part of the reason that we do the foreign aid with Israel is basically we do the our anti-ballistic a lot of our anti-ballistics and a lot of our military tech testing over there in Israel, because we can't do most of the testing we can't do in the United States, like for some of the extreme stuff, right? But since Israel and Palestine have been at war for like thousands of years, that's like the perfect breeding ground to do testing and stuff, right? That's why the Iron Dome is like fucking amazing, right? But anyway, you know another branch of our government does the same thing. That would be Dr. Fauci and the NIH and doing that shit with the Wuhan lab, right? Because here's what happens, right? So going to the Rand Paul and Dr. Fauci thing, right? So Obama banned gain of function research in the United States.
Yep.
So what Dr. Fauci and the NIH did is they set up shop in the Wuhan lab of our Institute of Virology to basically circumvent. Oh, well, we can't do it in the U.S. We'll do it in China, right? And so that's where a lot of the Rand Paul and the Dr. Fauci stuff is at a crux right now, because the Dr. Fauci had, I guess he granted via the NIH, he granted, he gave grants to corporations that worked over there with the Wuhan lab of virology, which and they're debating whether that was connected with COVID-19 in any way, which of course Dr. Fauci is doing nothing but legal talk. So we're probably never going to get the answer. And of course,
I don't even think he's not even doing legal talk. Like when Rand Paul brought shit up, he's just like, you know what you're talking about, but I'm not going to explain myself.
Yeah.
Well, that moment though, honestly, I'm no Rand Paul fanboy, but he's the only one that's actually holding Dr. Fauci accountable and might actually take him down.
Wasn't he also the only one who talked about like the transgender bullshit, like the
with Levine, yeah.
Well,
he has some good moments.
The only one. He's probably the only one who can, because he's a doctor. He's treated patients and he's survived COVID. So like,
he's an expert.
Yeah.
Well, surviving COVID is not a miracle.
No,
it's really
simple.
If you're a healthy person, yes.
Yeah.
If you're old, fat, and have like 50 million problems, it could be a miracle.
Well, it is.
I
didn't get any fucking issues from that COVID.
It doesn't make you surviving COVID doesn't make you an expert, but it definitely gives you a perspective when Dr. Fauci is saying, "Oh, we should get vaccinated," or "We should do double masks." Or when he's dropped some stupid shit like that, you're like, Well,
Fauci's been dropping that stupid shit since the 80s. When the AIDS crisis of the 80s dropped, he was saying that people need to stay 6 feet apart and that everybody should mask up.
Yeah.
He was one of the ones. Wasn't he one of the ones that was pushing that AZT bullshit during the AIDS crisis?
Well, he was the one who started the whole thing that gay people could only get AIDS. Initially.
Here's the thing. Did you ever see the Dallas Buyers Club?
Not yet, but I need to.
Okay,
I know it's relevant.
So it's a real story. So it's based on a real story. Here, I'll cliff note. I'll cliff note it. So Matthew McConaughey plays the guy that sets up this Dallas Buyers Club. So when he contracts HIV, that's right about the same time that the AIDS the outbreak was starting to make its upward trend. And so to counter that, the government was pushing AZT, which was a drug, and they claimed that it was gonna help you and all that shit, but it actually ended up killing people faster, right? So by a stroke of luck, Matthew McConaughey, after taking AZT, went to Mexico and one of the doctors there was like, yeah, AZT is actually killing people here. You should be taking supplements. You'll probably have a better chance of living. And then so the Dallas Buyers Club was basically Matthew McConaughey's character buying bulk nutrients and supplements and basically dishing them out to the subscribers. And the government was trying to shut him down at every turn. So that's what basically, and I think Dr. Fauci was part of that government deal with.
I mean, it sounds like something he would do, but I mean, honestly, I think the Reagan administration did do the right advice when they said, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't be partying and doing hard drugs and drinking hard alcohol, and maybe just maybe you should fuck 15 people in a week."
Yeah.
Also happens that gay people have a much higher body count than straight people.
It is kind of it does bring a perspective of like, okay, so back in the AIDS pandemic, they pushed pharmaceuticals that we now know were bullshit. And now that the COVID vaccine is coming out, they're pushing vaccines that may or may not be reliable. So it's like he's got like these people have this, like, they know what to do because they've done it before.
Well, Fauci just has like a god awful track record of misinformation himself, though. That was the point I was trying to make too. Like, like, you know, he's the one who started the whole you know, AIDS is a gay virus thing in the 80s. And then, you know, it's funny that he's talking about double masking because just last year he was telling people that masks wouldn't do anything, that it's you know, that it's just cosmetic. And
and honestly, I think that's the truth with most masks that aren't N95s. I don't think do anything. Well, I think N95 is the only one that has any effectiveness.
Well, I think the other issue is like a lot of people don't even wear these masks right anyway.
No, they don't.
They put their nose through it, which is just bypassing the issue. Or
dude, I was at the airport today, and I couldn't tell you how many people were wearing it wrong still. Like a year into this thing. And,
well, I think some of them do it on purpose because they're probably required to wear it there. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you are. It's federally mandated. Yeah. But, dude, I mean, going back to the Rand Paul thing, though, you have him up there, Rand Paul, and look, I am totally on Rand Paul's side on this, where he defines gain of function, and he says that's what you were doing. And Fauci says no.
Well, they were saying he said that he was, but it wasn't on that particular.
No, I don't think he even said it was gain of function. If I remember correctly. Well, I could be wrong, but I think he was even denying those gain of function.
No. He was saying that his grants didn't go toward gain of function. He was saying that the Wuhan lab did do gain of function, but that the grants that he gave to the EcoHealth Alliance, which was the company that I guess there was like a company, American or some company that was working in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. He was like, oh, that grant did not go toward that particular COVID-19. He was saying, oh, it's molecularly impossible, da.
Yeah, he was saying that too. Yeah. Which is bullshit. Yeah. What he's doing was, this is what I believe, is he was just throwing money in some general fund that sounded innocuous, and so it could be used for anything he wanted, and specifically this, because he knows it's dangerous, and that's why they banned it in America. And he's now, look, the way he freaks out in that hearing at Rand tells me he's scared.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's going to get in trouble, but he's scared. Because he knows some people are onto him and they're making the connections. And he says this all under oath. Like, pretty flatly, too. Like, it's not like he's using some, well, I think, or maybe, or in my opinion. You know, he just flat out says, like, no, this, yes, that. I'm like, ooh.
You could definitely tell the reverence there's cracks in the reverence of Dr. Fauci. Like,
remember how it used to be?
Means anything to Fauci?
He was Jesus.
Wait, hold on.
Wrong.
He was trying to say something. What were you trying to say?
Yeah, like an oath doesn't mean anything to Fauci. Fauci believes himself to be God. He doesn't believe himself to be a God.
Yeah.
He believes himself to be the God.
Here's my
am
issue,
science.
a lot of how much like actual like medical professionals even believe in that oath anyway. It's like, look, if you did any sort of transgender surgery, you violated the Hippocratic Oath. First do no harm.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's bullshit. I don't think it ever really exists, like at least in America. It hasn't been followed for a long time.
Well,
Yeah.
I think we're in a world now where nobody's enforcing
Yeah.
laws of the laws and the stuff that's supposed to be enforced. Like the people that are doing the evaluations for the licensures and shit like that, they're all crooked too. The law enforcement we're starting to see, they're starting to become crooked, or they've been crooked, depending on how you want to look at it. I mean, there's nobody's enforcing anything, and this is what I'm saying. This is what I've said for a long time. The U.S. Constitution is the greatest piece of legislation ever written when it's enforced, right?
Yeah.
If it's not enforced, then it's really worthless, in a sense.
Yeah. And what's interesting too is this is kind of the world that we've been going into for a while, but it's just spearheading now because I think January 6th is a great example of this two-tier justice system that is going to reach a breaking point. I mean, who knows what's going to happen or if something will change or what the reaction is, but when you have Antifa and Black Lives Matter burning down cities across the country and they get bailed out and paid for by Kamala Harris or people she gets to fund it and promote the bail fund, but people that went into the Capitol and did do some bad stuff that broke the law, but mostly a lot of people were peaceful, and some people that just walked in on trespassing charges are in solitary confinement. There's something wrong here, and I don't know how you can be a so-called fair observer and not see this as a problem. Because some people just go like, "Oh, it's so awful. They went to the Capitol. It's so bad." And it's bad because it's symbolic, but in actuality, Antifa and Black Lives Matter did more damage.
Yeah.
It cost more money, more lives.
Well, I mean, look, the Capitol rioters on July 6th, they didn't really damage a whole lot of property. They kind of just loitered in a federal building. They just loitered.
Yeah,
and they didn't do a lot of damage to the building, but they did do, the worst they did was beat up police, really.
They might have broken a few windows, but
yeah,
as much money as that goes through that fucking building, you think they'd have enough money to patch up a couple windows or some shit.
Yeah, and what's becoming more apparent is, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Revolver was talking about it, other sources were talking about it. Dare I say, this is going to shock you, but MSNBC was even talking about this. We remember the Governor Whitmer kidnapping, and I was talking about a few weeks ago how, I forget how many of the 15, I was like 8 of the 15 were federal informants. Well, it's now come out that 12 out of the 15 were federal informants. 12 out of the 15 involved in Governor Whitmer kidnapping were federal informants or agents. That's pretty fucking bad. Did you hear that part, Alex? I heard the door click.
Yeah,
no, I guess he disappeared.
Yeah,
but
no, I heard that.
Yeah, I was just saying, Alex, because I know you stepped out. Did you see now that apparently the number's been cranked up? It used to be like 8 out of the 15 of the people involved in the Governor Whitmer kidnapping were feds. Now it's up to 12 out of the 15 were feds.
Ooh, I'm not surprised. Sean, where are you? Which team are you on?
I'm on the U.S. And what's interesting too is that now we're looking into the Capitol riots more, and you're thinking, well, let's see.
Sean, can you switch to Russia if you can?
I'm gonna switch to the losing team. Yeah, I'll try to switch.
Привет.
I mean, I don't know.
Let me switch. But you have all these people on that were feds. So that tells you, because they're trying to spin this as, oh, there were federal informants, but they didn't mastermind the plan. I think they did.
Yeah.
So we
12
go
out of
into
15,
1-6.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think so too?
Yeah. 12
You know,
out of
most-
15. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Most of the people in the Capitol riots were federal informants.
Well, see,
I'm gonna say
that's
here
what's
first.
getting interesting is that now when you go into the
No,
Capitol riots,
yeah.
which had similar plots with what they were plotting with the people involved in the Governor Whitmer thing, which was break into the Michigan Capitol, which not a lot of people talk about, but that was the main plot point. But now when we get to the Capitol, we still have these people that are unidentified co-conspirators, and it makes you wonder that, well, let's see, if the feds planned this Michigan thing, that means they knew what was going down. And they knew, since they were to infiltrate all these groups, they knew what was going to happen at the Capitol.
Well,
My guess is they let it happen, and they also provoked it.
Well, the other interesting thing too is think about this. Think about this, guys. We had how many riots across the entire country last summer? From May.
Oh, it's insane.
From May to September of last summer, the entire country was burning just out because of the whole George Floyd thing. Not one of those rioters got prosecuted. They got arrested, but they got bailed out or let go by some of these weak ass prosecutors. Meanwhile, there was one riot, if we can even call it that happened with some quote unquote right wingers on January 6th, and yet that's all the media and the government and anyone wants to talk about now.
Yeah. And it's still going on. They're still nabbing people. They're still looking for people to prosecute and charge. It's going to be going through, I think, till the midterms.
Well, yeah, the only reason they did this, I think, is because they know, that they can go and claim that the January 6th was a coup. That's what they're trying to go with, but it's
insurrection.
It's a scam.
The thing it is
yeah, but one of the wait. Let me say something. Here's an interesting thing. Nick Fuentes and Tim Giannette, also known as Baked Alaska.
Yeah.
They were both involved in a little event a couple years ago called Charlottesville, which got a lot of people arrested and sent to jail, blacklisted, all sorts of shit. They were also involved in January 6th. And after January 6th, Dr. Casey made a statement, made a live stream saying that the feds they froze Nick Fuentes' bank accounts.
Yeah.
I heard that was true.
It did come out to be true, and I don't know if he knew beforehand, but because it sounds like to me with that case, because we followed that closely, kind of when that was going down. I don't remember if that. I guess that did happen. Yeah, it did happen after the 6th, because then they had AFPAC. Patrick Casey was saying that Nick was on no-fly list. His bank account had been frozen, and something else. I forget what the other thing was. But the bank account thing, I don't even... Nick said there was a grain of truth to that because he had some issue with one of his accounts. But I don't know if it was fully frozen then, because later he said that his bank account was fully frozen and he couldn't access the money. And then he later found he was on the no-fly list. So I don't know if he was in the no-fly list at that time that Casey said it, but it is interesting that everything that Casey said did technically turn out to eventually become true one way or another.
Casey's probably a Fed or he's working with the Feds.
I think so.
One thing that I want
I think Nick Fuentes is working with the Feds. I think it's Nick Fuentes working with them.
I don't know.
Because
so. They wouldn't have put him on a no-fly list.
I mean, I don't know how him and Baked Alaska,
Well, what did he really
they were the only ones that got out of Charlottesville unscathed. They
Well,
got
they
out of the
didn't do
Capitol.
anything.
He didn't
There were a
break the
lot of
law.
people at Charlottesville that got out unscathed because they didn't do anything. And with the Capitol, Nick wasn't in the riots. Baked was, and he's facing charges because of it because he trespassed technically.
He's not
And
facing charges. He's out free, and he's still live streaming.
well, because
Taking
how it
photos, all
works
that.
is they do a
Mental disease or
pre-trial.
defect. Mental
Yeah.
disease or defect. I think he's retarded.
Well, yeah, he
think that's
he
how
has
he
I
drug
could have told you
issues.
that shit before all this shit happened.
Well,
Well-
see how it works though is can I call you popes? How it works is they do a pre-trial where they say your charges, and then they decide if you're a threat to the public. Will we keep you arrested in jail till your sentencing trial? If you're not, they'll either put you on a bail or they'll just let you go. With Baked, he didn't actually do the rioting that you saw other people doing. He just literally walked in, looked around, shit posted, picked up the phone, and acted like Donald Trump was talking to him. You know, did he technically break the law? Technically, yes, but he didn't do anything violent. The violent offenders are the people that they're keeping really tight, and the people that were in these infamous social media posts. But Baked, of all the people there, did like the least, other than the people that just walked in.
Okay,
So that's why he's still walking around, and he may have paid a bail for all I know.
Okay, but here's another thing that I feel like everyone misses here too. And not you guys specifically, but I mean just like everyone, even Congress and the government. Technically, this was not an insurrection because because in order to throw, if this were like a real coup attempt to overthrow the government, technically they would have needed heavy weaponry. There would have been guns here. There weren't any guns. No one like tried to bring an AK or like hell even a shotgun or even a handgun into the Capitol. So
Even the zip tie guy, they found out he took it from somebody. I think a cop.
I
when he
think
was there.
Cops gave it to him, didn't they?
What?
I think I read that somewhere. Like it was a cop gave it to him for something.
Oh, Jesus. That's crazy. Well, and the other thing, too, is that I want to add is that... Oh, fuck, I'm losing the thought now. I'm getting caught up in the battle here. Oh, shit, my brain's running out muck. But, I remember what it was. The people that are suspected of being feds, though, are the unindicted co-conspirators. These were people that were in the riots, that broke shit, that did shit, that aren't being charged. Those are the people that people think are feds, because they're not touching them. And that's usually what happens. And if they do get touched, they get arrested and they get let go. Like Jaden X, the guy that sold the footage to CNN, the Black Lives Matter guy, that was also at the Capitol. He sold the footage to CNN of the Capitol riots, even though he was involved with the riots, and went into the Capitol, and they let him go.
yeah,
So that's
Yeah.
why those people are sus.
January 6th was more like a museum tour than a riot. Let's be real.
Yeah, I mean, I still call it a riot.
They were let in. They were straight up let in there. I think this was a Fed action.
Yeah, I agree.
It was definitely a false flag operation. I would have to say.
No, it's like the Reichstag fire in Nazi Germany.
Yep, exactly. You know, they would call Trump a Nazi. You know, Biden's more like Hitler than Trump in this respect.
Well, but this kind of goes to the other thing too. Is like, I was telling people, and so was Alex Jones. Like, I was telling people not to go to. I mean, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but like, I was telling people not to go to the to the Capitol on January 6th. Why? Because I knew that the media vans were going to be there. Like they were just waiting for something to happen, right?
Yeah, and they provoked it probably.
Yeah, probably provoked it. And so I was telling people that any Trump supporter worth their salt would do good, like being home, because I'll tell you what's crazy is after January 6th, like the day after, the FBI on their Facebook page was telling people, if you know anyone who was involved in the January 6th conspiracy, let us know. And so some of these lefty ass motherfuckers who I went to high school with started tagging me and saying that I was like a conspirator.
Would you wheel into the Capitol?
Or no, they were saying that I was like influencing people to do it, and I was like, okay. I'm like, first off, I doubt the FBI is gonna look into me, but even if they do, I'll send them footage of what I was saying of telling people not to go there.
Yeah,
you just gotta be a pain in the ass to them if they go, dude, because fuck the feds.
Yeah, fuck them.
Waste their time.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
it's
if
funny
Alex
too.
Jones had to go somewhere,
Yeah,
that's a good sign. Don't go there. If Alex Jones says, if he says it's a bad idea, it's a bad idea.
yeah.
well, Alex says that he thinks he was set up with that thing.
Yeah,
Because he was talking on a podcast recently where he helped organize this thing where Trump spoke. He helped get the money and set the whole thing up. And when that was happening, Trump then said, like, oh, we're going to go to the Capitol and we're going to make our voices heard peacefully, blah, blah, blah. And then Secret Service came up to Alex and they said, Trump wants you to lead the march to the Capitol. And he's like, oh, really? I didn't know I was going to be doing that. And they're like, yeah. Can you lead him? He's like, I guess so.
Are you talking about the Andrew Schultz podcast?
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was actually a really good podcast. Anyway.
Very entertaining.
Yeah.
He was on twice, too. They banned the first video, but I hope the second one's still up. And he was talking about that, and it sounds like even the Secret Service might have been in that, where they set him up to try and get people to the Capitol, but people were already there. And that was one thing Alex said, and everybody else that's been there said. If you were watching Trump speak, you weren't at the Capitol, and the shit that started there happened long before Trump even told people to go to the Capitol.
Right.
So,
and it's fascinating that you bring that up too, because I remember I saw an interview on Newsmax, like earlier. Like I saw an interview on Newsmax last week with Roger Stone, and I guess
love Roger.
And I guess someone called Roger Stone, like saying the same thing. Roger was in the hotel. Roger was in the hotel room, and then someone called him, like said that Trump wanted him to lead the march on the Capitol, and Roger Stone was like, "Well, I just talked with Trump's advisor like 5 minutes ago, and he told me to stay here and that we'd be meeting later on. So,
whoa,
I don't know."
That's Fed action for you.
Yeah, that's Fed action. Holy shit!
So,
I heard him saying on Infowars like that he was telling Alex when he heard people going to the Capitol. Roger said, "I have a bad feeling about this. I'm getting the hell out of here."
Yeah, and I mean, he was right to do so, especially since he had just been let out, like literally weeks before that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is the sort of stuff most people don't know. So I'm glad you guys know this shit. And we gotta keep spreading it. Be those force multipliers that spread the information out there, because a lot of people don't know this, and all this stuff points to it's Fed action. It was a false flag. It was set up. The whole thing it gets worse and worse the more you hear.
Well,
it's
and the other thing too is like, look, I know people were like kind of. I know that like we kind of had a good chuckle at how ridiculous it is that like someone was trying to inform on me, but also like it is kind of like I'm not gonna say I was scared, but like there was like a brief moment where I was kind of like, oh shit, what if someone decides to look in, what if someone decides to like look into it because they're having a bad day or whatever, right? Like obviously, I think the person who tagged me in the FBI is probably were just being an asshole.
Yeah,
But still, it's like,
it's still scary.
it's like I actually like messaged that person being like, if I were back in Denver, I'd smack the shit out of you out of you right now.
Oh yeah.
There's no reason to tag people who you damn well know weren't even in DC and had no connections.
Yeah, and Fed being just even talking to a Fed scares me. I mean, I won't say anything to them. I'll just literally ask them, "Hey, do I need to answer your questions?" And if they say yes, I guess I have to. Then if they say no, or if they say yes, I say I'm getting a lawyer. And if they
Here's my
say
thing.
no, I hang the fuck up and say go fuck yourself.
Here's my thing. If some dude in a fucking Viking suit comes out and is like, "Hey, you want to go to DC? We're gonna take our country back." Okay, I'm gonna reply to him like, "Look, you know I don't like the cops, right? But listening to that whole weirdness that you just did makes me want to speed dial the fucking FBI right goddamn now." I'm just saying.
Well, did you see he's now making the mental insanity plea?
Yeah, he's gonna get it too because he's fucking nuts.
The Q shaman.
Well, yeah, yeah. When Alex Jones is saying that your conspiracies are crazy. You fucked up some.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, Alex hated Q. I remember even before this, he would like rant about how Q's so stupid.
No.
And then when he brought the shaman on, he just went off because he's like, "You guys are stupid. You're falling for something that's so stupid."
Yeah, we watched.
Wasn't he a Fed? Wasn't the shaman a Fed or an undead co-conspirator or whatever?
No, he's facing charges. Nah, unless I've seen other, there's other shit happening.
No,
He's getting charges thrown at him.
No, he's definitely facing charges. So
Yeah, he's still in jail.
God, I'd love to be in the DC prison system right now. It's probably full of a bunch of fucking Trump supporters. It must sound pretty fun.
Well, did you hear? I saw some national file that apparently a bunch of them started banding together and they were singing the national anthem in a DC jail the other day.
Dude, let's do it. Let's make a right-wing prison gang. That's not like a fucking white nationalist one, you know?
Base prison.
No, I like my freedom. No, I'm good.
Yeah, I agree with you, Phil.
Despite not really having much of it right now, I don't like my freedom.
Why do we need to start like a prison gang? Why don't we just start like a conservative mafia?
Well, no, because we need to go make it so that there's gonna be more conservatives thrown in prisons, you know?
Yeah, it's not gonna stop.
Let's make it red pilled.
Yes.
Let's start the based mafia
Oh yeah.
Dude, I
disavow, but oh yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know.
Get to that prison reform bullshit. Let's go. I regret that.
The things were pretty based, when they were running New York.
They got shit cleaned up, didn't they?
I've been watching The Sopranos over the past couple weeks, so that's why that.
Wait. Are you telling me you're just watching it?
No, I've watched like I've watched like 3 times, but it's.
Oh, okay. Get concerned for a second. I'm just like, oh fuck! I don't think I was about to lose a little bit of respect for you.
Look, I think. Look, if they're going after Rudy Giuliani right now, that means the door's open for the mafia to come back because he's the only one that really crack down on the mafia in New York. So,
That's true.
Oh yeah.
No, it's weird. Oh, here's the weirdest thing. Like Michael Francisi actually had to sit down with Rudy Giuliani.
It was Michael Francisi.
Oh,
Michael Francisi was in the, I think it was in the Gambino crime family. He was one of the top earning, crime bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he was in Forbes. He was mentioned by name in Goodfellas.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
What was he
Even though
doing
it's
with
funny,
Rudy?
I don't know. They just had to sit down and they were talking. I think I can.
Michael Francisi is actually a podcaster now. He's kind of like if Joe Rogan were in the mafia, that would be Michael Francisi. He basically talks to he does like an interview style show where he interviews like all these old mobsters. So he actually knew Trump back in the 90s.
I bet Trump had to deal with the mafia in New York.
Oh well, he had
Definitely in Vegas. He had to.
Well, he had to deal with them in Atlantic City.
Look, I hope. You know what? I hope he did business with the mafia. You know what? You know what? If he did business for the mafia, good on him.
He's a true American.
You know what? Fuck it. You know what? I hope he did help embezzle money for them, like he's been accused of. I hope he did it.
The mafia is honestly less corrupt than the U.S. government at this point. It's sad to say, but it's true.
It's hard.
Actually,
for me to
here's
believe.
Here's the thing about the mafia. Let's say like I'm a quarterback, and I get like $100,000 in debt with the mafia. I can actually negotiate with a mob boss. I'm like, okay, I will throw the next 3 or 4 games for you to pay off my debt, and they'll be like, okay, yeah, all you got to do is lose. You lose those 3 or 4 games, we're all good.
Yep, that's what happened in The Sopranos. Oh yeah, Larry. Well, yeah. Oh yeah, Larry brings up a really good point. Yeah, the Kennedys were mobbed up too. Yeah, let's not.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Robert Kennedy go after the mob hard? And that's why you get the conspiracies that the mob took out JFK and Robert Kennedy?
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was because of the Cuban thing.
There's also that, too. There's a lot of conspiracies.
Okay, yeah, okay, so brief history lesson. So supposedly one of the reasons why the Bay of Pigs happened was because the mafia had like business interests in Havana, and they wanted Castro out so that they could get back to doing business in Cuba.
Speaking of Castro,
that was part of the story for The Godfather.
Yep.
Speaking of Castro, you made the perfect freaking segue there, which is a little bit of a drama that's been happening over, I guess, the past week at Penn State that we have been technically involved with to some degree. There is this building on Penn State's campus called the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. PRCC is the acronym we're going to use.
Or else he'll get real triggered.
Oh God!
Well, I always thought it was Rob.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep saying it. It's like Kamala instead of Kamala. It's Robinson instead of Robeson. It's basically it's in the hub, which is the student center, and this particular the PRCC is basically like the identity politics hub of Penn State, and it's where
it's like the Tumblr of Penn State.
Yeah, it has a lot of, and I'm not saying it's in a negative way, but this is just literally what it is. But it's pretty much just black stuff, like African American History Month, African American meetings, all this stuff for black people, about black people. It just all happens there. Yeah, not saying that way, just saying that is what happens there, and that's how they describe it. And there is apparently quotes on the wall. I've been in there once, and I was once for some sort of meeting, and I was trying to be the conservative that ruffled feathers, naturally. But I'm not conservative, but I shouldn't have said that. The Republican that ruffles feathers. And they apparently have quotes on the wall, and one of them is a quote from Fidel Castro. Now, the contents of the quote really don't matter, because what matters in this story is that the connection was made during the Cuban protests that we've been seeing over the past few weeks, and one student in particular that is Cuban and is also a member of the College Republicans sent out this tweet complaining about it and saying it should be taken down. I think he made a call to action like that, and I thought, I agree with my retweet. I said, okay, cool. I didn't think anything would happen. But surprisingly, Penn State, within a few days, this tweet didn't even really blow up much, said, we're going to take down the quote. And we're all like, awesome, this is an actual victory. Maybe a small one, you might say, but it's still a fucking victory. And good on the CRs for actually doing something for once. And the reaction was interesting, because we got involved with it. And the reaction, and I'll maybe pull it up if I can, I don't know if I'll be able to because I'm playing a game, but if you look up the PSU Black Student Union and I forget what the other pages were, the socialist,
the
Black
Caucus. The Black and Latino Caucus made a statement. Right?
Yes, that is the ones. And also the Socialists, the United Socialists of Penn State, USPSU. You can check it out on Instagram, and I think Twitter, they probably have them too. And we got some Twitter battles with them and Instagram battles, because they basically said, well, we're not, against the quote being taken down, but we don't like that Penn State can do this to us.
Mm-hmm.
This is our place. This is our space. This is a BIPOC space at Penn State. Fuck off.
So my thing was like right away, as I was reading that garbage. One thing that's the first thing that struck to me was, they said that they have no political affiliation or whatever, which I'm like, or they said they were apolitical.
Such bullshit. No, that was UPUA saying that.
It was garbage. So
that was our student government saying that they're apolitical.
Yeah,
so,
bullshit.
So
are they the ones that condemned the conservative clubs over
right?
State?
So
they condemned our event with Saga.
If you do work with a political organization, which they do, right? If you do work with the college Democrats, and you don't do work with the college Republicans, you are not apolitical.
Yeah,
not apolitical.
Oh, no, wait.
Yeah, you're apolitical hack. That's.
And let's keep in mind, who are most of the top people in UPUA? College Democrats, specifically exec board members of college Dems.
Yeah. You need to start going after them with campus reform to go and shed light on this. That you keep going with your story, though.
Yeah. Well, Phil got into it real deep with them, and I was too, because we were just calling them on their bullshit. I'm like, you guys condemned our event, our Turning Point event with Sargon and Hunter Avalon, and you don't condemn Fidel Castro. You are not apolitical. You clearly have a bias, and you're like, oh, we stand with the Black and Latino Caucus.
They're political.
They're saying that one of their complaints was like, they were saying, oh well, how come these white organizations were able to get this shit done so quickly when these not white organizations want something and it takes god long to get stuff done. And
I wonder why, because half the stuff they want to get done is violations of the First Amendment,
right?
Or impossible to do.
So even and I was like, first off, like, a lot of stuff you ask for is stupid and deserves to get thrown away anyway. But the stuff that you do ask for is generally not shit that even if the university did agree with you, it wouldn't be quick fixes, because
Yeah.
You'd have to do like you first. You got to get votes in. You got to go through proper chains of command. You got to go through. You got to find the budget money. You've got to find. Or if you're trying to do something that like fixes something, then it's like you got to, you got to find people that are doing it, like that are capable of doing it, and you got to set up appointments and get the right materials and whatever. And it's like, well, with this quote, all I needed was a fucking can of spray paint, and that's it. Bam, quote gone. Right, quote is gone.
Well, as I mentioned,
that simple.
As I mentioned, it's not according to them. All of them agreed to remove it, so it's not like there would be any opposition. Yeah. The shit they want to do, they want to go and like investigate unnamed students for saying racist shit, like stuff like that. It's like, okay, how much resources are devoted to this? Like, can we even do anything about it?
You want to investigate? How long do investigations take? Right? It's like, you think they're just gonna? Yeah, the investigations don't. No investigation I ever seen goes that fucking quickly, right? And it's like, like these people.
Well, you know what their demand basically is? It's end racism. They're just like, why can't you end racism quickly enough? It's like,
all right. Well, what about world hunger while we're at it?
The problem is, I don't.
There's tons of problems with their bullshit.
It's bullshit. It's bullshit. The bottom line is, right? Like if we're doing real talk, they're just mad. They're just mad because those largely white organizations actually did the work and actually made a positive change and beat them fucking to it. That's what it ultimately comes down to.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, let's keep in mind one very important thing that I think trumps all of this, which is that it was not technically white organizations that got this quote taken down. It was a Latino Cuban student. Right. It was a person of color.
Oh, then they started to go and try to say he wasn't actually like Hispanic too.
Yeah. That's fucking racist.
Right. Yeah.
There's you ain't black, you ain't Cuban, you ain't Latino because I say so. It's like, what?
Well, actually, he doesn't look too white to me.
That's the social justice warriors for you, though, guys. You're only black, or you're only Latino, or you're only disabled. In my case, if you agree with us, right?
Yeah. Because it becomes an ideology. It's not the race to them is not your skin color. It's a state of mind. It's an ideology. If you do not think like a black person, you're not a black person. That's how they think. I think that's fucked up, but they don't.
I mean, even going back to the Trayvon Martin thing, which happened back when I was in high school, like that was the first like really big inkling of like this SJW crap.
Yeah, a lot of the Black Lives Matter started.
That I remember. I mean, and I remember they called George Zimmerman, who defended himself, and rightly so. They were saying that, George Zimmerman isn't really Hispanic. He's a white Hispanic.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here with that.
It's like, what? Like,
can they use the same logic with Obama? Because he's technically half black, so they can say, he's a white black. Like, what?
Well, see, the fact that he votes Democrat, I guess, that fills in the blanks.
Yeah, now he's black because he votes Democrat. He's progressive. It's so crazy, and we were fighting with these people because honestly, it's a good way to show their true colors, and it's a good way to show other people who maybe are just browsing around, their friend shares with them, they see the comments, they see that these people are insane. And they are racial supremacists.
And how we handled it is exactly how every fucking person, when you're dealing with bullshit, right?
Yeah.
This is how you deal with it. You call them out on their bullshit. You systematically explain to them why their shit is bullshit. and you continuously, and if they continuously try to pass bullshit, you continuously go at them and you explain to them in detail why what they're saying is bullshit. And then once as a last resort, they start name calling and all that, throwing insults, you won right there. Bam, you won. Right? The second they start name calling and throwing insults, you won. That's
Well,
it.
the good thing about how you handled it, how Alex handled it, myself and everyone, really everyone, is that we were respectful, but we weren't nicey nice. You know, we
No.
weren't like, well, I see where you're coming from, or, oh, well, I can meet you in the middle. It was like, no, this is bullshit. Like, we stood our ground, and that is the key, is that you can make compromises,
and they
but you
continue to
can't.
say, we don't understand. Like, they're like, oh, you don't understand our complaint. And I literally
No,
said
I
what I
understood.
did.
Bullshit.
I said, I explained, this is your complaint. I get it. I disagree with you. This is why I disagree with you. And I went multiple points. And I'm like, look, this is so either you don't understand what the hell you're talking about, or you're purposefully full of shit.
Yeah,
okay?
you don't understand, like in my experience, because this is the same thing that I had to deal with, not at my current college, but when I was at the State College of Florida. Right, we had like a young Republicans group, and we had, I mean, for the most part, everything went smoothly, but we had like an LGBT like club that like tried to like go up against us in one of our events, and they were saying, well, you know, right wing people discriminate against, you know, LGBTs, and you don't understand what that's like to be discriminated.
Fucking where? Where does that happen?
Right. Well, that was my first thing. It's like, A, we're not right wing, but you know, B, like, where has that happened? Specifically on this campus, where has that happened? And B,
Well, I bet they brought the bakery thing, didn't they? They brought the bakers, those evil Christian bakers.
Well, that's the thing. They always bring up the baker thing, which I actually met the baker who in Colorado who was, you know, the subject of that case, and that thing got blown way out of proportion from what actually happened. But yeah, so I mean. But I was saying, but so I asked them, I'm like, specifically on this campus, what has any, you know, right wing person done that has, you know, harmed you? Well, I know you, Sam, specifically, you've worn your Trump hat on campus.
Ooh.
And I'm like. And I'm like, yeah, I have.
No, you wear a hat. Oh my God.
And I'm like,
dude, that's like the chick my freshman year after Trump won. I think it was the day after. She told me to take my Trump hat off, my MAGA hat, because it was a threat to her because somebody might rape her.
Was that the mop hair?
No. This was that crazy bitch that was in the hub. And she was handing out these letters the day after Trump won about how he enables rapists because he talks about grabbing people by the pussy. And she's like, can you please take that hat off? And I was like, fuck no. I didn't say that specifically, but I wish I did. But I was just like, no. Why can't I wear this? She's like, well, that hat is very dangerous to me. It threatens my safety because that man that it represents said to grab women by the pussy, and that is enabled rapist, and I'm scared that I'm going to get raped. And I was like, you are mentally insane.
She's going to say, hey, your clothes offend me as well. I request you put on something more modest because you look like a whore, and I got AIDS from a whore before, or got like chlamydia from a whore.
The whole grabbing by the pussy thing has also gotten
Way out of
take it-
context.
Yeah, take it-
Way
Way
out of
out
context.
of
He's not
context.
talking about like he just goes up to women just like pow, like grabs them. He's talking about when women throw themselves at him because he's a celebrity with
And
money.
he didn't even say that like a campaign event. He said it like on a closed hot mic.
Years ago.
It wasn't even something that he was like trying to go and do. He's like, oh guys, we're gonna grab Hillary by her fucking stank pussy and throw her out, throw her over the
No.
wall.
They made it look like he was like sneaking up behind women and going, "Gotcha!" Like, no, it's like no.
No,
It's-
it was in 2004 when he was having
Access Highway to the Bush.
during that whole thing, but also during that time, that was also during the time later when we found out that he was also giving it to Karen McDougal too, who I know who Phil knows who she is.
Yeah.
His friend knows too.
Yeah, my friend probably definitely knows who she is.
And,
Definitely.
and
I'm
you-
like, look, I gotta say, this week though, he was a great source of information though.
I
Like,
bet.
I gotta say, look, that the one time where I'm like that, like most of the time when he talks about this shit, I'm like, look, I really don't need to know all that. But this week it was like, well, hey, this is like
Please tell me.
It was Brandi Love, it was a name porn star. And so I was like, all right. Well, but I mean, I don't fucking. But like this is somebody who like he's almost like a scout. Like he scouts older, like the established porn stars. He's scouting new porn stars. He's like a college football scout, but for porn. Like he's just like all that. Like he knows the websites, he knows the movies, he knows all the companies. I'm like,
He should
geez,
seriously get
like,
into some like Playboy writing or something because he'd be like a fucking expert.
dude. I mean, like I was saying, like, dude, you should probably work for fucking one of these companies. Then he's gone to a couple of the
AVN awards.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, he's actually gone to a couple of the AVN awards, and like he's just like incredible. Like he's
Is this man
incredible
married?
how- No.
Okay.
He was.
Okay.
No.
Answers that.
Is that the same guy whose wife like ended up doing porn or
No, that was another one. That was we worked together, but I'm not sure we were really friends. But like, yeah, I mean, when that guy, like his wife started doing porn, yeah, we really fucking we let him have it because like it was just funny. Then it was funny. One of the very first scenes was like, he's like, oh my God, this is so big. I don't know if I can fit it all in my mouth. And we played that shit over and over again. Like anytime he'd be going into the fucking the dining facility, anytime he'd be going to the work, anything. Like, oh look, how's your old lady doing? Play the video. Boop. And it's like, oh yeah. It was bad because like it was just like it was basically a shot to his ego, like, because when you're talking about when she's pulling the surprise, obviously I don't know if it was an act or not, but when she pulled the dude's drawers down and had the surprised look on the face, we were like, oh, look how surprised she is. Oh my God, look at he must be hung or something.
Oh
Like,
no!
I mean, I think maybe somebody else might not be, right?
Oh no!
It was bad. It was bad. Like, but no, this guy, my friend, one of my really good friends. He's like, I mean, you could just like any freaking he'll tell you a porn actress, and he'll tell you probably all the movies that they've been in, what kind of awards they've won or some shit. Like,
so in other words, he's more reliable than Google is for this shit.
he probably would be. He probably would be. Like, it's nuts. Like,
Well, to just get back on subject.
Yeah. Let's get back on subject.
That was a great
Tangent.
if we could even
Yeah.
call it that.
Palate cleanser.
Yeah. Oh god, Castro thing. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, the socialist statement. That one was a fun one.
Yeah.
Because the socialists at Penn State, who are communists, they're not socialists. Like they're openly communists. They had Marx and Stalin and Lenin like at their fucking meetings, like on PowerPoint slides, and encourage people to read Marx.
Dude, socialism, communism, they're the fucking same. They're the same. I'm sorry. They just gonna tell you that's a lie. It's like people say, "Oh, I'm into anime," and they really mean they're a pedophile.
Good analogy. But they released a statement and they took the cake. I have to say, like UPUA, they had some ballsy things in there that made me go at them. The Black Caucus, usual bullshit. But the socialists went all the fuck out. They were unapologetic. They were like, Stalin is Stalin, other dictator. Castro is still immensely popular in Cuba today. Is beloved. Yeah. I'm like, are you turning it on the news or something?
Yeah.
You know, not right now.
There was
it
another
is
thing.
capitalist news. You're watching the capitalism.
They were like, there was one tweet that was like, oh, Castro has an 85% approval rating in Cuba, and I was like, well,
so is Putin.
Look, here's the deal, right? Even if you believe that bullshit, right? With a dictator like Castro,
or Biden,
85% is still bad when 15% of the people are still like, fuck you, right? If you're a dictator and you imprison people and you like starve people in prison and probably
put gun to their head with this pole.
Even with all of that, 15% of the population still told you to go fuck yourself, right? You know you're bad, right?
Yeah, and they wrote a glowing love letter of Castro. Like, it is a love letter. They are unapologetic with it. I don't know how else to put it. It's just, I mean, it's not surprising, but yeah, it's a complete mental disorder. People have that they are so. To be like,
my response, I wanted to be like, so when you jerk off Castro's corpse, does he still come?
Oh god. You should have said that.
Yeah, I know.
But we couldn't, and you want to know why? No. Because I started commenting on there something, and I know this is like a cliche conservative, like Turning Point USA line, but I did it because I know the membership of this club. And the membership of this club does, let's say, intersect with the LGBT clubs. And so I know my Castro history enough that I knew that Castro sent gays to concentration camps. Even the left admits this because it's fucking true. So I said, I just simply said Castro sent gays to concentration camps. Will USPSU disavow? And they deleted my comment, and I thought, well, because I had poor Wi-Fi, I thought, well, maybe it didn't send. So I sent it again. It got deleted again. I was like, okay, they're deleting my shit. 100% confirmed. And then they disabled comments completely. I was like, whoa, achievement unlocked there. And then they fucking blocked me because I started tweeting about it. Or I think they did before that. And I started tweeting them about it. I'm like, well, I can tag them on Twitter, and I'm going to check Twitter. I don't know if they blocked me there. I think they realized their mistake at that point. But it was just a pathetic, unoptical display. It's just stupid. I mean, really stupid to defend Castro. Well, just objectively stupid.
I'm not surprised they're doing what any communist would do and quash dissent.
Yeah. They are gagging anyone who disagrees with them. Very, very appropriate.
Well, what did you expect? They're communists. They admit it.
That is true. I honestly, it makes sense.
Yeah, at least they're open about it.
At least they're consistent. They're like the other communists. But no, it was funny. It was funny because I started putting that like on all these statements just to fuck with them because I know it get under their skins. And it's honestly, I did in a trolly way, but it's true, and it's an indefensible person, and it puts an indefensible argument, which is like, you people say you're progressive, you people say that you are like the champions of gay rights and gay people. This guy literally sent the concentration camps. Like, the fuck. So I just put on everything. Then this one chick got like really triggered by it. She's like, "You put this on everything." And I was like, "Damn right I did."
Yeah, because no one has put up a valid argument against that. They just keep deleting your comments. This is why we do not need communism and socialism.
Yeah, you know what I should have said was like, "No, I didn't put it under all of them because they got deleted." And she just like got so triggered by it, and she just went off. I don't even remember half of what she said. 'Cause I just was like, "LOL, like you're insane." LOL. I remember on the fucking I think it was the Black Caucus when I just literally responded, "Well, LMAO, get wrecked." Like, if it's the only way I can respond in 2021 to this stuff. Like, I honestly like making even the gay argument there about Castro was a stretch for me. 'Cause I'm like, this isn't going to change anyone's minds, but it'll trigger them. That's true.
Yeah, it's good to fuck with them once in a while. It's healthy.
It is good for your mental health. And I tell people, I look at this and I say, how are we losing? You know, if you think we're losing, let's say. But how are we losing to this?
Well, it's like what the communists did. You know, they delete your comment. They may or may not delete your vote, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably how they do it.
Yeah, exactly. We are the popular movement here.
They can edit history like that.
Yeah. It was just very funny, very entertaining, very revealing. It's a good experience to know what your enemy's like and what you're dealing with. And yeah, it's an all-around victory. It is an all-around, unequivocal, complete and total victory. So I'm proud of everybody that was involved with it in any capacity. Because it's an easy one that actually worked. I mean, it was a layup. Really, it's a layup. And it makes you wonder, and I know they defend these people, but why the fuck did they have a Castro quote on there to begin with?
Yeah, that's a good question. Someone
It's
should do some
stupid.
investigation. Who put it up there?
Good question.
Let's
We
have
should
an
look into that.
investigation. Yeah, we should figure that out.
Yes. I honestly might be able to. I think I know some ways. Because really, that was what I started thinking today was, yeah, this is, bad. It's a good thing we got it fixed. But who was stupid enough to do this? Like, really, this is just objectively stupid. But they got away with it for a while.
Can't keep getting away with it.
Yeah. Not even Sam High can't keep getting away with it. The other thing I want to talk about, and this is something I know Sam can give us maybe some insider info on, and I guess I kind of can too in some ways, is Sam Richards is back in the spotlight again of Penn State because people keep digging up his older clips because it's all out there. And there was a Fox News article, a bunch of articles on it, and even one today where he said that breathing is oppression. A white person breathing is oppression.
This guy, he needs to be fired.
Well, I will say that there were concerns by multiple parties that he was going to be fired. He hasn't been. Honestly, I don't think Penn State's gonna, unless something really, like the money starts getting pulled, then they'll do something.
Well, he's tenured, so, I don't see how they could really fire him unless he does something like rape someone, you know?
Yeah.
And even then, that'd take him a while. Look what happened to Sandusky.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, look, I give Sam credit's due on a lot of things. Don't get me wrong. I understand the guy decently, but his white privilege stuff was the biggest thing that I disagree with him on, because he was deep into that, and I'm like, dude, this doesn't exist. Like, get off on this. But he's still on it, and I know his assistant Jeff, that we know, was talk about like, you know, all these right wing people are going after him, and I'm like, well, to be fair, like there is stuff there that just, if you don't take that class, it's gonna look bad.
And
I don't even care. Like, he needs to describe it. He records it all, you know? I don't see why. You know, I want to go and speak to this motherfucker because he sounds like he's a nutbag. I honestly don't see why he should be employed by Penn State. Why
Well, we
should
may be able to talk to Jeff soon, so that might be a step towards that.
And Jeff maybe he's not in chat as far as I can see right now. He may be lurking in the chat. And if he is, hello Jeff. Love you as always. But I mean, saying that you know, breathing while white basically is oppression. How is that not?
That's deliberately offensive.
Yeah. How is that not discriminatory or racist? And Jeff texted me earlier and was saying, "Oh well, what's the whole context of the clip?" Well, it doesn't really matter what the context is. That statement in and of itself, no matter what the context, seems pretty damn racist to me.
I mean, to be fair, I would like to see the context, but from what I'm guessing,
I would too.
Yeah.
But even with context, it does.
Unless he was quoting someone else who said something retarded like that. That's the only time I could think there would be any sort of context that could, you know, justify saying something of that level of smooth brainness.
Exactly. That's my feeling on the whole thing too. Sort of.
Well, and if I'm understanding correctly without context, what I think Sam Richards is saying, is basically just you as a white person existing, you are oppressive.
Okay, and
with the privilege you have.
That offends me that he said that. That there is. How is that useful? That is straight racism. Well, what if he said, "Well, you know what? You breathing as a black person is oppressive to me as a white man." Like, what if he said that?
Exactly. Flip the script in it. Yeah, but I mean, and see, this is the other thing though, that these cultural Marxists, they have this weird thing of, if you say prejudice or racist shit against white people, it's okay. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And see, this is the real problem. Is you want to talk about like people like Nick Fuentes and James Allsup and, you know, even Richard Spencer, and it's like, yeah, Richard Spencer might be a nutball and whatnot, but guess what?
Yeah, Fed.
People like Sam Richards are the ones who are driving people towards Richard Spencer. If we really want to get crazier, I would make an argument that people like Sam Richards are the ones that are driving people to the Richard Spencer types.
No, and I can agree with that. I think that's what happens. You know, which came first, the anti-white person or the white supremacist? Well, you know, in the modern aspect and alt-right, I think a lot of that was started because you get a lot of these people who just hate white people, and whenever you have an action, there will be an equal and opposite reaction. That's what happens. You know, they're the reason why we have the alt-right today.
And that's my other problem with, you know, what's with Sam's white privilege stuff, is not only do I think it's just wrong, like it's false, white privilege doesn't exist, but by saying this stuff, it's like with whenever leftists say this stuff, they create their own monsters and their boogeymen. They create these Whig Nazis, white supremacists, because it's confirming maybe, you know, something that they just questioned at one point and thought, you know, well, you know, is this thing happening? And they hear people telling them, you suck because you're white, you have privilege because you're white, and you need to give me stuff. And I'm not saying that's what Sam is, you know, quote word for word saying, but that's how these people are interpreting it, especially the white privilege stuff, because ironically, Sam Richards won't admit this, but anybody that believes in white privilege believes in white supremacy. This is a point Sargon made, but it's very true. Is you literally believe that whites are superior because you're saying that they're privileged.
My friend Nirai here, who is in the chat, one of the who's in the moderators. He grew up. I mean, he's white. He grew up poor in I'm not sure, well, I know he's in Syracuse now, but he grew up in a poor part of New York City as a white kid, surrounded by other impoverished black kids.
Yeah.
And so, where was his white privilege? Now, he's built himself up from the ground, and he has a good business now and whatnot, but still, like,
oh, that's his white privilege right there, see?
yeah,
because he's white, he was able to get out of it.
and
That's the argument they make. Like, I'm not joking. Like, that is what they will say. It's like, well,
no, I know. But then,
Can I make an off-topic comment?
yeah, sure.
Real quick. Actually, it may not be real quick. I don't know. But I just got I was scrolling through Twitter, and I got excited. I got excited like I've never gotten excited before. Okay. And so
Bill,
I will start by saying,
did some chick show you her titties?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with porn. Doesn't have anything to do with porn or sex or whatever. Okay. And so I will start off by saying, okay, if the U.S. goes to shit and then I have to like leave and migrate somewhere else, the Czech Republic is now at the top of my list. Just shot.
Those are my people. That's my heritage.
Right away, shot up to the top of the list, and the reason for that just happened because let's see here. When
was this their self-defense thing, or is
yes?
This okay,
else? So the Czech Republic just passed a what it is their constitutional Second Amendment, right? So let's see here. Let me see where. Damn it. This it says now, and I'm actually getting a boner even looking at this fucking law. Look, because if you look at this law, it might even be better than our Second Amendment. Because look, here we go. All right. So the section, it reads the right to defend one's life or the life of another person with a weapon is guaranteed under the conditions laid by law.
Based.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Because, in our Second Amendment, ours is to arm ourselves against a tyrannical government. But this one is you defend yourself, you defend someone else. Yeah, I love it. I fucking love it. And I kind of already love the Czech Republic anyway because their women are fucking hot. But this shoots it immediately at the top of the list because that the EU is trying to crack down on gun ownership, right? They're trying to crack down on gun ownership right now. And
now, is the Czech Republic still in the EU, or is that somewhere else?
It's a good question.
Maybe.
I think
do they have the euro?
People are gonna.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, let's. This sounds like a job for Google.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely consider it if things get bad over here.
Well, what this is actually interesting of a bigger picture here is why is it takes fucking either foreigners or other countries to show America how to be America anymore?
Yep.
Like we get people like Milo, Sargon, Gavin, there's probably more that are not American, but they know how to America more than us.
Because I can explain exactly why. Because they've been because they've been, in most cases, they're from countries that have gone through a lot of this shit.
Yeah.
And America, like here in Cuba, even like I use this example all the time. There's a Cuban restaurant here that I frequent, right down the street from me, and the owners are first, are first and second generation Cuban Americans. The parents came from Cuba.
And yes, and by the way, yes, the Czech Republic is part of the EU. So
no, that's good.
This makes this even cooler because they basically told the EU to go fuck themselves.
Well, there's another one. I think it was like Malta. It's in the EU, but they have some like really interesting gun laws over there. Where like, I think you can buy machine guns there if they're like made like over like 50 years or something ago. So like, it's a decent place. Like, if things go bad here, I'll have to use my fucking passport, my fucking EU citizenship to get over there.
Mm-hmm. I fucking love it. I love it. That may have been the best news I fucking heard. So now I have an escape route. That's awesome. If this place goes to shit, obviously.
Well, you better see how hard it is to move over there.
Probably. It's probably going to get way hard to move over there. This is probably one of those laws that could like fundamentally change the population of their fucking country.
Now, they've always been pretty, like, out of all of Europe, they've been one of the more base ones. I think it's one of the few places where you could get a like carry license in Europe without being a politician.
Between Hungary, Poland, and Czech Republic, they've been the most base by far. And
Poland, their gun laws are shit, but like
their immigration.
There's actually like the EU. I mean, is basically the EU is almost like a fucking tyranny, really, because you basically have a couple countries in the EU that are kind of willing their shit on the rest of the European Union. Like you have Germany, you have basically like Germany and a couple other countries that are kind of like willing their shit on everybody else. But it's like, you know, because you got a lot of countries that are like that aren't very excited to do any
the Swiss are pretty based too.
Yeah, but I heard they used to be more based. Like they changed it so it's like a pain in the ass to get ammo now or something. Like you can only have like a certain amount of rounds at your house.
At least you can get a bank account.
Well, that's not even as good as it used to be either. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah. 9/11 pretty much fucked that up. So.
Well, I think it was 9/11 with that. It was, I think, like Obama fucked something up.
Yeah, you have a lot of these countries, like, and you looked at the Euro, like the soccer tournament, and you remember how there was a couple of countries that were kneeling for the for the whole Black Lives Matter. I would venture to say most of these countries in the European Union were not kneeling. Most of these countries were not kneeling. I'm gonna tell you right now, Sweden wasn't kneeling.
Has anybody even been following
Slovakia, Romania? I don't think Poland definitely wasn't.
Has anyone even been following the Olympics so far?
No,
I haven't.
A little bit. I always liked the Olympics. That's why I have some interest. But this one I've had less interest because it's like no fun without crowds.
But no one even on Facebook, like not even my normie friends have really been paying attention to it at all.
Yeah. I'll only catch something that like if something's on the news, then I'll look at it. But otherwise, I really don't give a shit about the Olympics. Like for example, the women's soccer team lost 3-0 to Sweden right on the very first match. Right, that excited me. I'm like, all right. One, because that Sweden soccer team. Whoo,
it's smoke show, man.
Woo, they were hot. Oh, you got a bunch of angry bull dykes going for the freaking the U.S. and women's national team, and then the Swedes are just they're so Fucking sexy.
Embrace tradition, reject modernity. So, because I actually, it's like the one sports thing I like because it's different and it has sports I like, and that's why I've always liked the Olympics. And it's more exclusive because it doesn't happen every fucking day. It's every 2 years or every 4 years, and for each one. But I just, and it's also more patriotic. You're rooting for your country rather than this state or that fucking city. I've always liked that. I think it's a good thing. But this, I'm not gonna stand for the anthem shit. All this crap in our soccer team is a bunch of, feminists. That shit pisses me off. And we had today apparently was the first time we didn't win any medals as a country on the opening day since 1972.
That's okay. We'll make up some new fucking sports so you can get some gold medals.
It's
probably some feminist sports or some, involving trannies.
It's going to be very interesting because the one thing I can tell you guys is that, believe it or not, this podcast actually does have a few international listeners. And,
let's go.
And even like some of the more, I mean, I don't want to call them leftist people, but I guess they're more like
center.
Yeah, I mean, they would kind of consider themselves socialist, but they're more, I guess, centered.
That's not very centered. They're socialist. But internationally speaking, I guess.
What I'm saying though is like social justice really, at least the way the SJWs have done it here, really doesn't exist in Europe.
I think the UK's pretty bad with
that.
that.
The UK's pretty cocked. Their soccer team keeps kneeling. And they blamed on racism when they got berated online.
The English FA put out a statement and they were like, "Oh, we are kneeling for racial blah 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 blah." Like that came right from the. They made they were so cucked. They made a statement about it. Like.
Like UPUA.
Okay, well I had this Dutch guy that like
Did he give you a Dutch oven?
Oh no.
No.
You had to go there.
Yeah.
No.
Dude, there used to be this fucking restaurant called the Dutch Oven and it failed because someone wanted to go eat at a place that tastes like shit.
Well, speaking of restaurants, what was the end of your Cuban story, Sam?
Oh, so what I was gonna say is the Cuban, the people who own the Cuban restaurant by my house, like they they know from firsthand experience like why communism sucks, because the parents had to flee there, and so I actually saw one time. One of these college kids came in like wearing a Che Guevara shirt, and the owner like flipped a gasket and told him to get the fuck out of the shop, and he fucking did, because the guy was like, I think the owner was gonna chase him out or something if he didn't. But like that's my point, is like immigrants from other countries, especially communist countries, know how bad shit can get here, and like even we don't really know how bad it can get.
We've never really had any big suffering since the Great Depression, really. And we haven't had suffering under communism or dictators.
Not really.
Yeah, I mean, the closest thing may have been like 9/11, but even then, that was only a pretty small subset of people actually like hit.
Yeah. And the thing, too, is I am, as much as I am a strong immigration hawk and think we should limit across the board and completely get rid of illegal, of course, and support them and limit legal big time. At the same time, when I see these, and you can say it's the cream of the crop, whatever, but on the campaign, I'd see like these base, like fucking Kenyans and Africans come over, they're like super Christian, super pro-Trump, and you get some of these Cubans that are that way too, that love this country more than the fucking white liberal or leftist women that have been here for generations. I'm like, what is it? Like,
First generation will generally love the country they moved to because they did it.
yeah.
Their kids,
Mm.
that's when you start to have the issues.
Because they technically, with their kids, they assimilate more, which is good.
No.
But then they start veering into different political paths.
I mean, from what I can tell you from personal experience, like first and second gen Cubans are pretty good from what I can tell. But from what my base Cuban friends have told me, the problem is with third and fourth generation.
That's interesting.
The ones who have been, the ones who have basically lived here for so long that, they don't.
Well, they stop identifying as Cuban. They start identifying as Hispanic American.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of block, and I think that's what becomes the issue.
Dude,
they forget their roots.
Dude, it's actually I shouldn't say it's funny, but it is kind of funny because Cubans hate when you call them Hispanic because I mean I
What about if you say Latino?
They I mean, sure, I guess if you need to do it for like legal stuff, but they really just they are kind of prejudiced against like other Latinos.
Sounds like the Asians to me.
It's pretty much just like that. So,
like, I had a Cuban friend who got in a fight with this like Indian guy because over like an argument about are Indian people Asian.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they're a fun bunch of people.
I see that's just so silly to me. It's like,
well, you won't understand. We're white Americans.
Yeah, but we don't go, oh, you're Irish. Oh, and you're German. You ain't white.
We used to back in the 50s.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well I know. That's the thing. Like people talk about racial homogeny and I'm like, I didn't really have that a lot of times in history, even amongst white people. Look at how much the fucking like the Italians when they came to America, they were in their own little group and formed the fucking Italian mob. And then you had people saying that the Irish weren't white or the Italians weren't white. Like
the Irish were called the white N-words for so.
Yeah.
Well, I said the same thing with the Polish. I've
I was
heard
gonna
a lot
say. Yeah, the Polish are another great example. It's just, I mean, I don't buy into the whole racial homogeny thing for shit like this. And really, I think you need to be united under either a similar faith and similar same nationality, of course, and same language. Those to me are more important than anything else. Do you speak the same language and do you basically practice similar
Speaking
faith?
of united, let me ask you this one, Sean, because obviously you have quite a bit of work with campaigns and with party and stuff like that. So I trust your answers and therefore judgment. So obviously we know you probably know about the whole Jenna Ellis, Ronna McDaniel or Romney McDaniel situation.
I know, like when it was starting. Can you give me a quick TLDR just so that I make sure I have everything? Because I do know some of it. They're basically a civil war between each other.
Right. So during the election integrity protests by the Trump campaign, the RNC basically they said that they were going to support him and they used Trump's name to fundraise, but they didn't they kept themselves basically distant to the Trump campaign.
And I think
so,
that's what Jenna Ellis was saying, is that
Correct.
she was claiming that they did nothing to stop the steal, and they're just using Trump's name.
Correct.
Okay.
And they were doing it, and they were basically doing it for fundraising reasons because, well, winners tend to not fundraise as much money as losers do. So
Right.
So this whole thing was basically a ploy for the RNC, and it ended up working for the RNC because I think they gained more donations in these last 6 months than maybe any time, arguably ever. So it's like, so yeah, Jenna Ellis is basically saying, "Oh, I'm not going to be a part of the Republican Party until Ronna McDaniel goes or whatever." But like, so what would be your take on it? Because I mean, it's tough. It's a tough one to navigate because
we don't really know a lot about it.
Yeah, I mean, even if that's the main thing, like, let's just say, obviously, you have to be skeptical if there's more, like, with there being possibly more shit than neither side's telling you, but
yeah.
But let's just say hypothetically that everything that Jen is saying is accurate. Like, what's your take? Because it's like they're asking you to donate to the RNC, so it's like, well, do you just donate to the RNC, or do you? I've always felt like if you like a candidate, give to that candidacy, not the RNC in general. Like, what do you think? What do you think? Because, like, I mean,
well, I will say this as a disclaimer: I am still technically under an NDA with the RNC for a year.
Forget that. Okay.
But I can still give some take on it. I still can. I'll tell you this. I need to suicide myself. Not real life, in the game.
Oh, see, that's how you get out of that NDA.
That is one way.
The secret trip they don't want you to know about, how to get out of any NDA.
That's
Jeffrey
a loophole.
Epstein over here. Holy shit.
That's the Epstein loophole. But I will tell you, like, what happened so that you can get a little insight. That's what I can say. I can't give my opinion because I know the RNC would love to sue somebody if they said something bad about the RNC. I understand why. That's what companies and brands do. So, just going to leave it at that. But from my experience, when the election ended, we were kind of like, okay, well, what do we do now? You know, there's people like me that are like, oh my god, we don't knock any more doors? Oh, this is weird. What are we going to do with our lives? It's just crazy. I can actually relax. And we kind of just sat there in limbo for a little bit because we didn't know what the fuck to think. And, you know, Trump was saying that it was stolen, it wasn't fair, and we had just people all across the campaign had their suspicions on the election, one way or the other. Even though we were told the mail-ins are safe, and we were told to push the mail-ins and get people to do mail-ins if they couldn't go in person. That's what we were told. And, you know, I told volunteers this, so this is not like secret info, but when we started realizing that we got to stop the steal, I was asked by my boss, hey, can you stay on longer? I said, absolutely. I'm in this till the end. I said, okay, cool. And so about after that first week where we kind of just were, I don't know if it was the first week, it was the first few days. Yeah, I think it was the first week. We were, I think, all at home. I didn't go into the office for, I went, I think, the day after and a few more days. And we didn't really have much to do, but they finally were starting to tell us, okay, here are some names to call to make sure that their ballots were done right, or that they did mail-ins. I think we were trying to verify if people did mail-ins. I know I personally, at the office we had in Lancaster, there were people calling in saying, oh, I got a mail-in ballot, an extra ballot. oh, my vote didn't count, all this kind of stuff. And I was addressing that and trying to get to the bottom of things. So there's the personal end of action where I just was trying to get to the bottom of things from calls we got into the office and other things. I don't know if, I think all orders come from the top, which is the White House, or which is then the RNC, kind of. Like, it's kind of weird how they work, where we kind of get orders from the White House, but we kind of more or less get them from the RNC, because that's technically who I was employed under. And I assume it came from the top of the RNC, which was telling people to call through these lists to make sure that they voted properly, whatever it was. That was what they told us to do. And I did do that. I did it multiple times, and everybody else was told to do it, but not everybody actually did it. But they were kind of pushing it, even though people were kind of done with things. And there were people that went down to Philadelphia because the votes were still being counted. That's another thing to keep in mind. The votes are still being counted, so they sent people down to Philly. I know my boss went down there, and I don't know what all happened down there, to be honest. I know they were helping with the count and making sure it was done properly, is from what I understand. Again, I assume this came from the top, but I don't really know. Because there's the tippy top, which is Ronnie McDaniel, and then there's the person that runs the state. And I don't know who it was coming from. I know the person that ran from the state was giving some orders, but I don't know if her orders came from Ron Romney McDaniel. And
so what does Ronnie McDaniel have to do with anything?
Well, what she has to do is that she's the head of the RNC. And there are lots of people that want her gone because she's viewed as establishment. And there are a lot of people that want to keep her because she runs the show and let's not rock the boat right now. And Jen Ellis is one of the ones that wants her gone because they think she didn't stop the steal or work to do it and kind of just use Trump's name for fundraising. I just told you what happened with us, which was throughout November. I don't remember the exact timeline. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks after the election. I don't remember specifically. I went on for as long as I could, and even afterwards I did stuff, and my personal time helped stop the steal, but I was very limited because I didn't have a car, but I was still making the calls, still trying to help people out, still trying to get people connected. I was still getting volunteers calling me. So that's the best answer I can give for now. When my NDA's up, I can give my full opinion, but that is just what happened. And I don't know a lot even at my level. I don't have the emails anymore. I have texts, but I think a lot of the all of our orders came from the person that ran the campaign at the state, from the RNC. And I think that's what everything Stop the Steal related came from. But I don't know if she made those decisions personally or if the RNC told her or if the White House told her. White House being Trump and his people, mostly his people. So that's the best answer I can give. I know it's kind of long-winded, but that's what I can kind of say.
Okay.
And the only other thing I can say is that Trump has complained about his name being used for fundraising. He doesn't like that.
Yeah. That was one of those things, and and they raised a lot of money. Like the RNC raised a lot of money from that point until now. They've raised that there was one report saying they've raised more money in that time than at any 6-month period in American history, basically. Like,
yeah, I understand people's concerns. I will say that I understand it.
Yeah. So
because let's be real, these campaigns, I know this from what I saw, they're expensive. It's a lot of manpower. It's a lot of resources. I mean, it's a lot of shit. And some would say the ground game isn't effective. I know it's effective. I don't know how effective because of the results. I don't believe them. So I can tell you, though, that I personally registered 100 new voters. 100 new people, and I bet all of them, if not the very least, almost all of them voted this election for Trump. And that's just in one county and one person. So we do make a difference. But in the Stop the Steal stuff, I don't know. I honestly don't know because I don't have numbers to tell anybody what we did or didn't do, how much of a dent, what it was for. I don't know. I could give my opinion in a year, but just from what I saw, we were basically at my level making phone calls and helping people out on a personal level, or people come into the office. People above me, I know, went to Philly, went to other counties, and I don't know on what accord that was, and then they eventually went down to Georgia. So that's the best I can say.
I mean,
I know it's not pretty clear and it's not very simple, but that's the best I can say.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, I know people aren't going to like to hear this, but I think at this point, the stop the steal thing is, I mean, I think it's, at this point, it's more important to focus on 2022 and 2024.
I don't think so, because you can't get to 2022. You're not going to win 2022 until you get to the bottom of 2020.
What are we,
there's a lot of people that
we
don't
talked
think
about
that
this
the vote
before.
counts.
We talked about this before. What, even if, let's say we do find evidence of voter fraud, significant, that would have changed the results of the election. What do we do at that point?
Well, you pass new legislation.
That's the only thing you practically can do. It's just the crazy thing is, and we had a long sort of, what if scenario on this, is like,
there is no legal mechanism.
President. Yeah, there's no legal mechanism to reinstate president if you find out the election was fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. That is craziness. Because imagine MSNBC reporting, because they'd have to. Trump actually won Arizona. Trump actually won Michigan. In Pennsylvania. Oh my God, he's actually president, but he's not.
Yeah. And you hear what's going on with the
Arizona, yeah, dude.
Yeah, people are just like not doing their own fucking job now. Is that what's going on?
Like, they're trying to get the main thing is like they went through the audit of most of the ballots and stuff, and they found a whole lot of inconsistencies, and they're
looking into now.
They were trying to get a hold of the router, and that's where they're getting the biggest pushback.
Yeah, what's the issue with giving people these things? Like, unless there's fraud going on, why would you want to hide this?
That is exactly well, I mean, anybody who knows how routers work is telling you that something fishy's going on, because they're saying, oh, well, we use those routers for other things as well, and therefore it's a security. There's a security risk.
No, there's not. You change the fucking password. People can figure out what router you're using pretty easily.
Yeah, exactly. You and I know this. Like, and there's no real information beyond like the log. Like, it's basically a big log book. What
are they gonna do? Delete votes? You can't do that from a fucking router.
No, but what they're trying to do is they're trying to see if these things access to other routers.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what they're trying to do, and that's what they don't want. Like, that's what the Democrat base does not want. So,
well, and the two other things are, and I've heard this multiple times from people that either were on the ground in Arizona or knew people involved in the process and are getting leaked some info, is apparently there are a lot of ballots that were mail-in ballots that were not folded, that have no fold marks, no creases. And the most damning evidence, this is actual evidence that was shown, Tucker talked about, he had the best, he came around this one. He was kind of like not touching the voter fraud stuff for a while, but he came around in this segment where he talked about and showed the video where they found ballots that were duplicates. I think it was in Georgia. Yes, it was in Fulton County, Georgia. Duplicate ballots. Mm-hmm. Why are they? Why? Because they would show the way that the dots were filled was identical, and it looks like it's a hand doing it. It's not a perfect circle. It's just like a little blob, and it's the same blob on all of them. And there's like many ballots they found this way. What the fuck is that about? You don't even look. Could change the election. Who the fuck knows? That the point is, this is fucking crazy that this is here. It doesn't make sense. And in Arizona, like I said, they're supposedly finding ballots that didn't have crease marks that were mail-ins. They need to be creased if they're to be fucking mailed. And apparently, like, Navarro is saying that there's at least 10,000 fraudulent ballots in Maricopa County alone. Trump wins at that point. So I think these audits, these are a big deal. I don't care what anybody says. They might be getting a little overhyped. Who knows? They're a big deal because if you see how they're trying to stop them, it's a big deal.
Yeah, you know, of all the stupid shit the government wastes money on, you know, I'd rather the government waste money on, like, looking into this shit than, you know, funding weird, like, lesbian studies on fucking overweightness.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you see in Georgia, there's clear evidence that there were ballots that were copies. You gotta look into that. There's no excuse. Because that doesn't happen unless they're fucking somebody's copying the ballots. You know? And that's why, you know, and I understand the sentiment that we want to move on. I get that. But the problem is we can't move on until we get to the bottom of the last election. Which it shouldn't have to be that way, but unfortunately that is. Because you have, first of all, if you believe it's a rigged system, it's going to be rigged. We're not even going to win if it's, you know, rigged against us. And number two is, there are going to be people, you know, maybe this happened in Georgia, maybe it didn't, but this time around, definitely, there's going to be a significant chunk of voters who aren't going to bother voting because they think their vote's not going to count.
Now, I heard in PA that they were like, that some senator got some sort of thing passed where they're going to do something now. Like,
yeah.
They're trying to, but they're getting pushed back. And what they're doing, so there's a lot of like, this is kind of shady too. So they're saying that if whatever any machine that gets audited basically can't be used again. So then that means that they have to buy another voting machine.
How?
So,
Why? How? How does that make sense? Like, why are they doing to audit these? Are they like breaking it open or something, or what's the issue?
I mean, it's they're basically going in because they say that the security could be compromised.
Dude, you can compromise them pretty fucking easily beforehand, too.
Well, they could be compromised. Yeah, they should be used easy to begin with, but like, fuck.
Make them so they're open source.
Yeah.
Open source.
No. I don't. Open source voting machines? Are you fucking kidding me?
Absolutely. It's already easy enough to hack them as it is.
Yeah.
No, they need
to be what difference would it make?
They need to be closed system a bit, if anything.
Well, they also part of the pushback was that, like, when I tried to get those machines and they tried to audit the voting systems, that these voting systems companies were countersuing and basically saying, "Oh, you're infringing on our proprietary right, or our proprietary."
Well, then we need to go and stop you. Like, definitely for the next election, I'd go and ban using any voting machine that can't be audited and is not open source. I think that's easy.
That's not going to happen, right? Because it's like I said in previous freaking podcasts, it's like, but both sides have establishment classes that are doing this shit.
Oh no, I get that too. No, I get that too, but I still think, you know, like, something needs to be done about this, and I think there's enough will right now for this sort of shit.
I stick to the golden rule of politics, right? Which is that if one side is doing some shady, the other side is doing it too.
Yep.
Right? That is the golden rule, right? So for me, it's like if Dominion voting systems is shady, odds are ES&S is shady too. Like,
well, and what's interesting too is, you know, I'm surprised the Democrats actually haven't like counter the Republicans, like, okay, well, we'll audit your elections. They haven't even done that. They haven't said like, oh, we're gonna audit Texas.
They did try to go. They did try to go. They did try to go after Trump when Trump beat Hillary. Like
That is true. They did, and they actually found more votes for Trump.
Yeah.
In some states. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild what's happening with those audits, and you ain't gonna see the end of this for quite a while. Like even the Maricopa one, what people have been saying in some circles I've seen is that it's not going to be the audit that's going to be the big deal. Like, oh, have some shit. It's the canvas, and what they mean by that is what they're going to do on the canvas, which is kind of like a political canvas but slightly different, kind of more like a census canvas, is they're literally going to go, okay, this ballot is supposedly a dead person. It's John Smith. He lives at 123 Street. And they go to 123 Street and they go, okay, does John Smith live here? No, this is Colonel Sanders. Okay. Yeah, there's some shade here. This person's probably dead. This is bullshit. They might do it to all of them. I don't know how they would do this. They'd probably narrow it down some way, but that is going to be a big deal too. That was something that Crowder was doing, I know too, when he was finding dead people. He was basically doing a canvas, and that is going to be another big part of this, is when they go around, go door to door, seeing if these people live at these addresses, and that's where you'll find the dead people voting, the people that are voting from out of state or that didn't change addresses, because that's something weird that happens too. Like, and every state's different. That's part of the problem, part of the good thing in some ways.
Well,
like,
see, I think they need
if
to
you
make
try to even find somebody's voter reg, I'll say this real quick. In Nevada, it's like a million times harder than PA publicly. PA, you just need like first name, last name, birth date, zip code, county. Nevada, you need like social security number and all this other shit. I'm like, damn. You were saying, Alex? We should go take A, by the way.
Yeah, let me grab this first.
Okay.
I think that they're coming with the helicopters. I think what we need to go and do is I think canvassing should be done after every fucking election, no matter who won or lost.
And I here too soon.
And I think that they should make it easier for when you move, all your shit gets moved too.
Oh yeah.
Right now, it's a pain in the ass to get your everything switched over. We have technology now. We should be able to do this with a fucking click of a button. When you buy a new house, have your mailbox changed, have your voter registration changed, your driver's license shit updated. Because right now I do each of those separately, and a lot of those are a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and I agree saying it's getting kind of late. But no, I've always been frustrated with just how, it's not just the government, but so many things are so backwards and slow that just make no sense when you have so many. Oh, this helicopter's really coming after us. When you just have so many, technologies today. One thing that I'm glad is finally happening, I know it's a small thing, but with COVID, it took restaurants and all these other businesses so long to adopt some basic things. Work from home is probably one of the obvious ones, but how fucking long did it take them? It took a pandemic for them to catch up on something that's not... there's a lot to it in terms of building your company's infrastructure, but it's not like they don't have something there to begin with. A lot of them were able to quickly flick the switch. A lot of them weren't. Some had to quickly scramble, but a lot of them could. It's it's kind of frustrating how it takes a terrorist attack or a pandemic for shit to actually get innovated, or a war.
Well, that's the way things goes. You get fucking boomers out there who are in charge of these companies, and they screw things over a lot.
Yeah,
I think we should end with one last story, and it'll probably be a quick one. So actor, and I do mean this term very, very, very loosely. Actor Sean Penn demands full vaccination for crew members before finishing his new show.
Oh god.
Yeah.
This is so annoying, these people that they first go from you need to wear a mask, you need to get vaccinated. What's next?
So yeah.
To be fair though, Sean Penn has he's always been one of these morons though. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm honestly hoping that these people still don't get vaccinated, because I never want to see Sean Penn in any movies, shows, anything that involves any kind of screen. I don't want to see his fucking face again. So please, if you're listening, co-workers of Sean Penn, do not get vaccinated.
Yes.
No, I get that. Now, real quick too, I found like another like little interesting tidbit.
The Clubhouse leak?
No, another scam. Well, I mean, yeah.
God.
So apparently, what's going on now? The latest scam is with these fucking master degree programs.
Oh no!
Apparently,
that was already a scam, by the way. But
well,
okay.
no, like it's even like worse now, because apparently they'll team up with these these nonprofit schools. You know, like these big ass schools are going to pay these like scam companies for these certificate degrees. They'll cost like $30,000 for you to go and get these master's degrees. All these like bullshit online classes. Like I think Harvard and Yale have some online degree program like that. It's a straight fucking scam. And the thing is, with master's degrees, there's no limit to how much money you can federally borrow with it. Like with bachelor's, there is, but with master's, you could go like $200,000 in debt before they stop you.
I have an idea for a college. I have an idea for a college program, which is to fund hookers for college.
Get a master's degree in pole dancing.
Yeah,
master's degree in baiting.
No, bro. No,
we should...
no. For all you nerds in college, specifically you political nerds, funded pussy by the government. Young Democrats, young Republicans,
state sanctioned
pussy. The young
pussy.
people pussy. Yeah, state
like
sanctioned pussy, man.
Incel.
I think in Amsterdam, they actually like part of they fund like sex for like the disabled. Yeah,
I've heard about that.
Yeah,
what's wrong
Sam,
with that?
Sam, you know where to move now.
With that,
I cannot.
That's literally what my job is on this podcast.
I wonder how good it is though. It's probably like the Sandpaper Sally shit. Like
I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, look, we could have regulations in place here.
Yeah.
We could shift focus from all this other bullshit.
It's not going to be the
You guys
high
have been
end.
rambling.
It's not going to be the It's not going to be the top shelf red line district.
Well, how do you determine those things? Do you have like a pussy inspector come over?
Well, hold on. I was actually just thinking about this in sort of a socialistic sort of a sort of way, where you take the sort of the modern, the OnlyFans and all this stupid horse shit that all these women are doing, and you make it focused. So, there's men, there's women in college. Some of them are gay, some of them are straight. They are attracted to people in that college they go to. They can then talk to someone like an army recruiter or some sort of liaison.
Army recruiter.
To liaison to the government, who can contact. Okay.
Imagine them setting up like at the hub, like a recruitment table for this.
The sexual services.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. We're talking bribing students on an individual level, on a state funded, government funded, federally funded by our taxes.
Dude, if I was a freshman, you wouldn't need to bribe me to do that.
Look, there's a 4 in your class, Sean, that really wants to fuck you. Now we will. No,
you're not joking.
Yeah,
right, but hold on. If you had someone telling you that you would receive compensation, I don't know exactly how that would pan out. We could work that out in legislation.
What's your definition of a 4?
Right.
Wait, so you get paid to have sex with some stupid whore? That's not too bad.
I might turn it down. I actually might turn it down.
Sure,
it might be a bribe.
And you would have the right to. You would have the right to. And then the incel tag would really mean something. Because there's no reason. You could literally just. I mean,
put a price on it.
There would have to be some kind of scale.
Yeah, there'd be
For
no
sure.
more incels because
Yeah.
anyone could have sex.
Alex, you can't
Right.
fly.
Oh fuck! What the fuck am I doing?
No, but see, the rule is it's not just a pussy fund for everybody, a pussy/dick fund. It's you have to go to college. You have to. It's literally just a college thing. So
Wait,
like,
why would we make people
that-
go to college for this? We have enough people. We have too many people going to college right now.
Good point.
Okay,
Be in a trade
Pam
school.
and Pussy not to go to college.
I think
Because
we should
college is-
create. I think we should
ahead.
create the Sam and Apex.
Pussy for
Incel
Nerds
Pussy
Foundation.
Fund. Yeah.
Yeah,
Incel
Pussy for
for
Set up a
Nerds Foundation.
GoFundMe page with it. Sam and Apex help incels get pussy fund.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm down with that.
Well, see, what they would probably end up doing is you get the bottom of the barrel pussy with that. You get the fucking fat, like, feminist Tumblr bitch who only, like, let you do
Yeah.
it, like, missionary. She says she's a slut, but she literally says fucking, like, basic ass shit. And it's going to be, like, obese.
I'm playing the devil's advocate here, and I'm talking about like communist utopia, socialist utopia, where like
Yeah,
everything
utopia.
is perfect, right? Utopia. We're talking about pussy though, so every time you have one, it pretty much is. So don't argue with me there.
Well, in a communist utopia, we would all get those super hot Russian models that would all.
I think you're seeing the cream of the crop with that. Like, you go look back in Soviet times, things did not look so great.
Well, sure.
But again, I did not frame this with unrealistic expectations. It was like you're not pulling in porn stars or celebrities or whatever. Although the idea of like having a pussy bank, if you don't use it.
Well, no, you're talking about the special needs people who get the service. What if you have it where the special needs people are the prostitutes?
Well, I was talking about you guys. You guys in college. So
I mean, I'm special needs, but not in that
not
way.
special needs. No.
Well, no. But there's a discussion there. Maybe you weren't there for that, but like about how Amsterdam special needs people go to the brothels for free.
Mm-hmm. No, that's I used that as a launch pad into this whole thing.
I've read about.
I'm gonna go to Amsterdam and pretend to be retarded.
It's not gonna be hard.
Hello, my name is Sam Whitfield. I have Asperger's and a huge dick.
And two big wheels.
Two big wheels. You should see what my tail can do.
You want to see? I have a pair of big wheels and a pair of big something else. You got to stay to find out.
Some fucking 6'8" Aryan dude fucking lifts you up by your collar and pulls your wallet out. Phil,
it's
like
now I see why they call you the master race. Oh my god.
My name is Jeff. And I'm
disavow.
And I'm gonna kill myself unless I do.
Oh Jesus! Yeah.
Double disavow. See the chat.
Yeah,
I'm banning Sam from Versa from here on out.
No, I'm talking.
He's talking about me. He's mocking me.
Oh, you're Jeff too. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm Jeff.
Yeah.
Ooh, dodge the bullet.
He's good. He's good, Jeff.
He just likes to. He does like the mom thing because he's got whatever is going on with Sammy.
What?
He got this little mom thing that he does when he's upset. He calls me by my first name live on air, which he literally only does. He's trying to pull a skirt on me.
I'm not.
Go ahead,
I'm
Sammy.
not. I'm not upset. I'm not upset with you, Jeff. I just like your name. So.
Yeah, sure. My name is
Jeffafa.
No, God damn it! God damn it!
We have
I
two.
would strangle you.
We have two in it. What you can try and strangle me. No.
The Jeffafuth shit.
Yeah, we should have ended the stream. You were right, Sam.
And I came in here to do that. That's why I started talking about pussy funds for the colleges.
And we ended up having way too much fun because you were that kind of guy.
You have like fucking after hours.
Look, yeah, we just bring over, with the immigration thing. We can bring over.
Make an OnlyFans for the After Hours Club.
Yes.
You know what? I might actually legit start an OnlyFans.
You have to give them your driver's license, so be warned.
Oh,
You could look. You can offer. Well, I mean, you know,
offer rides on your wheelchair for the high
give them,
donors.
give them a free naked chariot ride. Look,
Oh my god!
oh yeah, that's right. I need to wear that shirt again.
yeah. Oh my, that is fucking hilarious. That is a
Yeah, I can't believe you only
hilarious-
wore that the one time on stream.
Yeah.
You ungrateful
Oh my God.
bastard.
Did your parents ever find that?
Yeah,
glad-
they did, and they were like,
We were
They
dying
disown
laughing.
you.
When we were creating this shirt, we were dying laughing. I was dying laughing when we were creating that shirt. It was so hilarious.
they were like,
One
what-
made the picture, I was crying all over again. I'm just letting you know.
they were like, what the hell is a naked shirt ride? I'm like, you
I'm-
don't want to know.
You won't understand.
I laughed.
Well, Mom. Well, hold
It's
on,
not
Mom
just
and
a
Dad.
phase.
You realize that? Hold on. I realize, Mom and Dad, you may not know this, but I am in a chair. It's a wheelchair, but it is a chair. So if you could look at the image on my shirt and put a couple of pieces together, you
I was
might.
gonna say, I made the image pretty obvious. I'm surprised they had to ask. Unless they were doing that whole like, so what is this? You know, where
Yeah,
they
they're
know
like-
what it is, but they hope it's
they-
something else.
Yeah,
They pull a pocket pussy out of your fucking top drawer doing your fucking socks, and they're like, how do you turn this flashlight on? What is this? Or
Do
just
you ever
like,
see you ever those little toys when you were a kid? They're from like the aquarium and shit. You could put your fingers in them. Dude, they're fucking
What?
pocket pussies for kids, man.
What?
They look like a fucking pocket
Wait,
pussy.
wait, back
whoa,
up.
time the
These
fuck out.
toys from the aquarium that you
Yeah, and they'd have like little like fake fish and shit in them, and like I look at it now, and I'm just like, holy fuck, this is like
What are
a
you
child-sized
talking
pocket
about?
pussy.
Dude, I
you
invented
know
the
what? I
ballpark
feel-
where. What are you talking about?
They had them in the gift shop. They're these like little jelly things. It looks like a fucking pocket pussy.
Flashlight.
I do not have a reference for it. I feel like I can imagine it because I've felt some weird squishy toys in my day,
Oh,
especially being as old as I am. But I mean, I've not been to many aquariums.
I'm sure.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Alex, send me
I'm
the
sure.
link because I am
Yeah,
like,
I have to. I'm going to go and ask my parents if they still have it. But I used to get these little fucking toys, and I swear to God, like this was way before pocket pussies. This was like back in like the late '90s, early 2000s, you know. And they weren't meant to stick your dick in. You'd have
Right.
to be like Asian size for it to fit in that.
disavow.
You know, like you have a good look in your finger in it.
Yeah, you could practice fingering with your pinky, maybe, right?
angry is an inch.
And it wasn't like I mean, it had like water on it, but it wasn't in it. Like it was not meant for your pleasure. But they made these fucking kids' pocket pussies back in the day that they just mislabeled them.
So what was it for though? Like, what was the actual like toy? Like, what was it? I'm still confused on that.
Okay, so like imagine like a dolphin, little dolphin toy or some sort of fish, but it's like a squishy toy with like an open mouth, right? Am I
Oh, like
picturing that right?
it's like this little cylinder that's made of this like plastic, and there's like water around it, and there's this like Chinese finger trap sort of design in the middle of it.
Oh yeah, you mean
I know. Go ahead. I know exactly what you're talking about now.
I
Yeah.
still am lost. What the fuck?
I
Kind of
don't-
aquarium. is
I
that?
don't know what the fuck they're called, but they were basically pocket pussies for kids.
Yeah, you could squeeze. You like if you squeeze your hand hand over hand, you just keep moving the fucking thing in place. Yeah,
Yeah, there's some weird.
I know
fucking
exactly what you're
toys.
talking about.
Yeah, it's basically a pocket pussy though, but like off-labeled. You know, I don't know how well it would
I
work,
mean,
but it basically is the same aesthetic.
Should we test it out, boys?
Oh boy,
let's
we'd
send
have
it to
to.
the college kids with the government funding.
Dude, you'd have to find like some real like fucking incel
Frat.
for that. No, I don't think any of this frat. Like maybe somebody did steroids. 'Cause
Oh,
they
we
have
know
a-
somebody.
Dude, they'd have to have a pretty small pecker for it. I know we do know someone who would fit that bill, but
He's a little hard to reach at the moment. I'm just saying, I don't think he's the type of a small, you know what.
Oh, I thought you meant the other guy we know is a small. You know what?
No,
Well, look,
he's
hey,
not
hold on.
hard to
No
reach.
small dick. Don't hold on. No small dick hate. You know,
Well,
dudes have
No,
small
it's
dicks.
a
All right.
justified hate.
No,
If
it
I
is
had one,
not.
I'd hate it.
Well, you know, like they leave more for the rest of us. You know.
That
Actually,
means
okay,
you hate
yeah,
white.
yeah.
You hate white people. Then that's what you're saying. Then.
Oh, yeah, I'm progressive.
Okay.
I'm just
Very
being
good.
progressive.
You were in Sam Richards' class for too long.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Dude, I can't believe you took that class voluntarily. Like, you
Yeah,
must
it was
really hate
great.
yourself.
No,
Yeah.
it was, dude. I love being like in the battlefield like that. He didn't turn me anyway. I think I don't even know if I turned anybody or changed anybody's minds, but it was worth it.
Hold the fuck up. We were talking about pocket pussies for kids and government
talking about
funding for
kids.
pussy.
Shit,
Yeah,
like-
no. We're not steering back to this political shit. We're killing this fucking stream, or we're gonna be funny and talk about things that are funny.
Next week we should start cracking on we should
Shut the
start-
fuck up, Phil. I'm sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
Easy, Apex. I swear to God, I won't be political. I swear to God, I won't be political.
Go ahead, man.
Look,
I mean, this.
we start crack. We should all start collectively cracking on Owen Benjamin because we've never.
Oh God!
All of us
Drink,
never done it together, right? We've done it a few people individually, but we've never fully invested in cracking on Owen Benjamin.
You need to go and show me what the fuck this guy is about. You need to give me the deep red pill on this person.
Yeah,
you watched the documentary on him.
You could hook us up with the deets, but yeah, we can all because I think it would be fucking hilarious if we did it. If we all collectively put our minds to it, it would be fucking hilarious.
Do a let's play of Owen fucking.
And he would absolutely. I'm betting you he would absolutely respond. 100%.
One way to gain clout.
I'm hoping so. How I'm still waiting for you want to talk about nerds, Apex. I did start off the show strong by bashing Charlie Kirk, which we have more on that coming in a few
Low hanging
weeks,
fruit.
maybe. But
I hope we will have more on that. It was
I think Charlie Kirk would fit in one of those kid pocket pussies.
Jesus Christ. He would
Hey,
need
you know
one.
what, fellas? Hey, you know what? This is a hard fucking topic change, but I went with my cute ass generic little Mexican broad to see Black Widow. I've not even been to the movies in 15 years. I don't care to go to the movies. I've always had a really
And you
big
picked
TV.
Black Widow as like your.
No.
It's not even black. That's cultural appropriation.
I know,
Calm the
right?
fuck out, boys. Can you let me shut the fuck up, Phil?
Jeez.
I'm picking you out every time because Phil's fun to say. No, it's her. It was her idea because she's young and she's all into these fucking Marvel movies and shit. I don't give a fuck.
Happy girl, happy world.
Man, you're dating a retard.
Well, she's younger than you, so by that measure, she's more.
Oh, so she's a kid too.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ. Well, wait, how old are you?
How old are you, Apex? You sound a bit older.
33.
What are you doing? How old is this person? Is she like 20? Is she even able to drink?
She's 23.
Mm,
Yeah, she'll be
That's a
Rob
decade.
Cradle with that one.
Does she even have a driver's license? No, I'm just playing.
Wait, Sean, that's
Anyway.
right your alley. Fucking Gen Z. I couldn't stand dating one of those people, man.
Wait, what's up
It's
my
tough.
alley?
And that,
Those
guys,
Zoomers.
fellas, boys,
I love Zoomers.
boys, shut your fucking mouths and let me finish what I'm saying here, okay? Because you're all saying exactly what I was trying to say. Because she's young,
so you dumped her.
and she's into these fucking. I don't care. I mean, I'm just trying to do something.
Dude, pussy's pussy. You know, a hole's a hole.
Look,
Yeah, tell
there
it to
were
a priest.
there were 4 people in the theater, and I didn't care about the movie, and I was the one watching the screen while getting head.
Oh,
There you go.
But
I've heard stories of that. I've heard worse, but nice.
but
Did
no,
you do the popcorn trick?
Dude,
no. I just pulled my dick out, and she's.
there you go.
How many people were in this theater?
no,
Were they socially
would-
distanced?
So
there were 4 in the
Was she wearing a
there were
mask?
four other people in the theater.
Oh, that's why you were able to do this.
Incredibly far away.
Oh wait, were they taking turns?
No, I mean, they were doing their thing. But I do have to say, for some cape shit, there was two. I think there were two dudes in the whole movie.
Oh, very.
One of them was like a slave.
Oh.
One of them was like a slave to Black Widow.
Of
Scarlett
course.
Johansson's character.
So
And the other one was the villain. The other one was like the main villain, right? Literally every other character in the movie were females. But again, I don't
Colin
give
Jost
a
was
shit.
in the movie.
I really don't give a fuck about this shit.
I can smell the estrogen from the
just a
TV
movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, what I have to say though, my main concern or my main complaint is the seats made the blowjob a little toothy for one, and for two, there were plot holes. Like if you don't watch all of them, it's not a standalone.
Oh, there were holes.
If
I
you've
know.
not watched fucking every other goddamn movie. There's points that like, wait, what the
how
fuck
they
happened?
get you.
Oh,
Marvel's a scam.
Well, I would now Apex. Like I know when I was younger, I would actively look like when I was taking a chick to go to the movies, I would actively look. I would actively look for the worst fucking movie in the theater. Actively. Because if the movie's bad, she's
yeah. Back in the day, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah.
Dude,
I mean, that was a safe haven to get some kind of fucking some neck. Or if you were lucky, if it was a shit movie and if you were smart, yeah, you could maybe fucking.
I would lie. I would lie to her like a motherfucker too. I'd be like, I took her to like it was like the Russell Crowe. It was like the Masters of the Commander or some shit. It was like some 1700s thing that Russell Crowe did. I'm like, it was a shit movie, and I knew it was a shit movie. I'm like, no, you got to come see this, man. It's a fucking fantastic one. It got all kinds of crazy reviews, and then we got in the theater. Well, hey, I thought it was going to be a good movie. Whatever, blow me. Here.
I mean, look, I may have framed it the wrong way, or I may have played it out the wrong way. I went to this movie because she was a fan, and it was something she wanted to do, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll go and watch this shitty movie, but don't be mad when I make fun of it. But I don't even know. It was 45 minutes into the movie that it was her idea that she's like,
Imagine being a fan of Marvel in the year 2020 plus one.
No, imagine being a fan of Marvel and then not watching the fucking movie and doing something else.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Like, she's a fan of the movie. She wanted to watch the movie, and then whatever.
Well, I heard that was a pretty shit movie, anyways.
Yeah.
Again,
I didn't hear it was this feminist though. Yeah, that should have been blown up.
How bad the movie was. That tells you how bad the movie was. When she's willing to basically blow you in public rather than watch the movie that she is a fan of.
Well, maybe that has more to do with how fancy my little dick is.
You would like to think so.
I mean, I'm saying if she actively wanted to go see this movie and then it was so bad that she's like, well, might as well.
I think she was just horny, honestly.
Well, that could probably be it too.
And I'm gonna say, as a non-fan of the MCU, the one thing that I did notice, other than a few points of like really bad acting, and there was literally just a couple points that was like, Jesus fucking Christ, are you serious? I mean, it was overwhelmingly obvious that every fucking character in the movie is female, but they're not being. It's cape shit, dude. Like, I don't really fucking care that. I don't care enough to be like, wow, why is there not more fucking men doing this shit? It's a fucking movie. It's a movie about the widows. It's a thing where they're girls that are kidnapped and made into fucking soldiers. They're women. It's women.
Feminist propaganda. Gotcha.
It's a fucking movie, you fucking retard. It's a fucking movie. It's a story. It doesn't. I mean, propaganda, sure. Like,
That's how they do it.
Movies are propaganda.
1980
Movies are the definition of
1984 is
propaganda.
Dude, that whole series is a scam to get you to have to watch all the other ones. It's the biggest scam since fucking Cutco knives.
Okay, well, if you invest that much into your entertainment properties, yeah, it's propaganda. But if you go to watch a fucking movie, it's a fucking movie.
No,
Who gives a fuck? What impact does it have on your life other than watching it or not watching it?
All the other movies part of the same scam, the same grift.
Money and influence on your mind. Movies, music, all entertainment. Pretty much. I don't want to say. I will say it basically manipulates.
The universe is a grift scam cult.
Well, that's
changed my mind.
That's all of Hollywood, though. Essentially, though. Guys.
Well, no, but those in particular, because you have to watch them in like order, else you're gonna be confused. Like, oh, well, I didn't know this. Oh, you have to go and actually, you have to go and watch the Avengers and Iron Man Part 2, 3, and 4, and the Superman and all this other stupid bullshit. Versus, I just watched the fucking Joker. Might be cape shit, but it's really not.
Okay, Alex,
well, that's
hold on.
the point of it. Is that it's just to make as much money as possible.
Okay, now, aside from the price difference, what's the difference between that and beyond you guys, other than Phil, who's gone now, years of the old comic days where crossovers started to happen, and, you know, if you didn't read the most recent issue, if you read, or, you know...
Comics are scams, too. I'm not saying, I'm just saying the movies are scams. I don't watch comics. I'm not nerds.
Okay, man. So... You could break that all the way down. All of fucking media, all of entertainment is a scam.
No, they're not.
Almost all of it. Almost all of it. You could break it down much further. Depending on how cynical you wanted to be, man. There's not a chord that's been played in succession to another chord that hasn't been done 100 years or 500 years.
If I were to watch one Stanley Kubrick movie and I see another one, I'm not going to be like, oh shit, I need to go and see fucking like The Shining and Full Metal Jacket to get Eyes Wide Shut. No, I just watched that movie.
No, okay, no, I agree with that. But if they're making movies into comics, which yes, it is. I mean, I agree, it's a scam. I walked away being like, yeah, I didn't like that movie. There were things that happened. I'd not seen the other movies. I didn't even know the fucking bitch died.
Oh, you know what I mean? So probably died. I don't know who the fuck Black Widow is.
Anyway,
Scarlett Johansson. That's all you need to know.
She's not even black. That's right.
Scarlett's not even really. Well, I mean, she's
not that good looking. Hot take.
Did you just say ScarJo?
She was hot in the day, and yes, I fucking did.
God damn it!
I fucking did.
You know what? You will either put a bullet in this stream, or I'm leaving.
Well, the last thing I will say is that when my girlfriend doesn't like a movie I take her to, which is rare because I kind of know what she likes, you know what she does to me?
She farts on you?
No, she falls asleep. I
was gonna say she beats you, but no, that was my ex-girlfriend.
No, that's pleasure, not.
What?
Oh,
what did I just say?
Whoa, Sammy Abuse stream coming next week. Good night, everybody.
Alrighty, folks. Thanks for tuning in to this. Whatever this was.
Autism streamed live on YouTube.
Or fucking listening to paint dry for most of the time, as far as I understand.
Wait, Sean, did we ever throw up the Verso simulcast, or are we just doing this on Sam's?
Oh no, I started streaming it.
Yeah.
Simulcast. Always simulcast.
Yeah.
Simulcast keeps running that fucking Japanese bullshit.
Alright, thanks for tuning in, everyone, and good night. God bless. Gods of this great nation. God, freedom, Uncle Seaman, order.
Did you say Uncle Seaman?
He says it so many times. He's got his shit down. Like he does. It just he does it with his fucking links too. Stop, Sam. We gotta, guys. We gotta write Sammy a new intro and outro. Good night, everybody. God bless this great nation, and semen on your father, whatever the fuck Sammy said.
God, freedom, legacy, in that order. Although,
just like, share, and subscribe. That's all I gotta say.
Although Brandi loves
check out the Bursa Boys.
Semen.
See, we need to get a sponsor so we can have something cool at the end. Be like
Trojan.
God's semen on your leg in that order.
Yeah. Get cucked, play the rage, oh cunt.
Oh, you know what? I've actually kill the stream.
Thanks for listening to The Whitfield Report on the NGC Network. Please visit Sam's website at www.thesamwhitfield.com and support Sam on Patreon at patreon.com/Whitfield Report. Until next time, God bless, God save this great nation, and God, freedom, legacy, in that order.